A world suffused with life, inhabited by a multitude of peoples, rich and poor. A world of birth, growth, death, and all the changes those imply. This was the world of Tyr. However, this world and the sun that shone on it are dead, replaced with barriers that hold back the darkness, and even worse. In the darkness, terrifying things circle the 10 pillars, those last bastions of life in the blasted world of Tyr after the Shattering. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tyr, A Simple Job. Before I do anything, I just want to pause and say an enormous thank you to Sam, who composed the music, arranged the video.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. Oh my god.
Oh god, I love it.
Golly, can we have the text of your overlay, the voiceover?
Yeah, the script, sure.
Yeah.
We'll get that to you all.
Elise has already taken
At
notes.
some point.
Yeah, I'm like, how many pillars did he say there was?
10. There are 10
That's what I
pillars.
thought you said, and I was like, that didn't sound right. But I also have audio processing problems.
No,
so I was
10
like,
pillars
I
were
did it wrong.
referenced. So, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Thank you so much, everybody who's tuning in. Thank you so much, Sam. That was an enormous amount of time and work, and frankly, if we had given you, I don't know, like a month and a half to work on that, that would have been beautiful, amazing, and perfect. And I did not give you that much time to work on. So thank you
It was
so
beautiful
much.
and amazing and perfect.
So good.
Couple days.
Good.
It's so gorgeous. Like
Yeah.
And then when you started rolling like our characters, and it was
I
just like
know.
it was so cool.
Oh my god.
I like that.
The way the gears moved at different rates, and
So-
Gramps just kind of swung down and around. Very good.
I enjoy the fact that we have gotten through exactly the trailer, and there has been an invocation of Debbie's spreadsheet. All right. I am going to go ahead and say hello, everybody. My name is Galway. I'm one of the founders of Helpful Goat Gaming and programming director for Helpful Goat Gaming. And tonight I am the game master for this Tyr campaign, which for the first time will be played in Blades in the Dark. This is also the first Tyr campaign in the AS after the Shattering era/timeline. I'm super looking forward to it. This is, of course, the wonderful cast of people you see around me.
Add that to the spreadsheet, Debbie. /timeline.
Are the Marauders from Boontree Isle, who I am very pleased to have decided to join me on this adventure. Before we get started on introductions, and then before I get started on walking you through this more than, again, the wonderful trailer already did, I want to take care of a few quick pieces of business. First and foremost, I mentioned I am one of the founders of Helpful Goat, the group that is streaming. We're a small independent game design and game content creation community. If you would like to join the community, please go ahead and use !Discord. Get a link, join our Discord. We hang out in there a lot. We do game days, we do movie nights, we do Rachel reads to us because many of us are in fact illiterate because we are slum children from a bleak post-apocalyptic future. So yeah, that is definitely a lot of fun. We have a really good time in there. It's a really wonderful, really supportive community, as evidenced by the amazing chat that you all are doing, by the wonderful poem that Chelsea has dropped into chat for us somewhere up above, which I will have to go find, or someone will have to go find.
I have it.
Nice. Okay, neither of you are illiterate. So do that, check it out. It's a lot of fun. In addition to that, we stream here on Twitch, twitch.tv/helpfulgoat, multiple times a week, usually. Last week was real busy. We've wrapped up Goatoween, our celebration of the month of Halloween. Yes, Halloween is a month now. With lots of scary one-shots. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. We streamed like 5 times last week. This week, just a couple times. We have this. And then on Friday at 9 p.m., we have Goats and Dragons, The Fates of Rin, which is our level 1 to level 20, currently sitting at level 15/16, unless you're Rachel. Campaign of Dungeons and Dragons. You're fine. You're going to level up twice in one rest. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'll be up to 10 then.
Oh, right. Shit. Sorry. I thought you were going to hit 11. Forgot you were still in single digits. Takes a sip of his tea. It's like, oh dear, how have we kept you alive? Yeah. So yeah, check us out here. You can follow us here on Twitch, totally free. Get notified when we go live. You can also subscribe to us for free with Twitch Prime if you have Amazon Prime, which supports us financially, or you could buy your subscription. Either way, tremendously appreciated. We love getting to do this. We love getting to do things like again, I'm not going to stop harping on this absolutely amazing trailer that Sam did. So that helps us with assets for that. It helps us with tools and resources that we need, kinds of things. So consider supporting that way. Also consider supporting us through our coffee page, !ko-fi to get a link. You can buy us a cup of coffee or a mug of tea, or a new After Effects template, whatever. All of these things are good and useful. If you would like a mug to put some tea in, you can use ! merch, Elise. Yeah.
That should be coming any day.
Yeah. So ! merch takes you to our merch store. We have limited time Halloween merch. The sticker
Vanna White over
for
here.
Market of the Dead is there. And we also have artist highlight series stuff, which includes that notebook, which is art done by our very own Chelsea for McKeck Tumbledown from Dom and Dragons. All of the profits for those go to the artists who made them. We do that to support, highlight, and celebrate the wonderful members of our community and their wonderful art. One quick credit, the amazing tokens and art for the characters that you saw in the trailer is by our wonderful friend Monty. At Miraculous Monty on Twitter. They also have a coffee page with a shop, so just look for them on coffee. Just look for Miraculous Monty. They also take commissions that are for the same kind of art that these amazing tokens are. So I really encourage.
And now also dice.
And now dice. Yeah, handmade dice. So that is 90% of my fundraising spiel. The last part is !donate, which highlights causes that are important to Helpful Goat. I have not changed it over, so the October one is getting a little bit of an extra run. We highlighted 2 charities celebrating the fact that October 11th was both International Coming Out Day and Indigenous Peoples Day here in America. So we highlighted the First Nations Foundation, providing advocacy and legal support, cultural support, etc. for Native American and Indigenous peoples, as well as the Trevor Project benefiting LGBTQ youth. I don't know why I've said that tons of times and I can normally just breathe through it, and this time I'm just like, what are letters even? As always, we also encourage you, look for a local charity that supports one of these causes if you are so inclined, because donations to those are immensely impactful in your own community, and those organizations have a lot harder time doing fundraising. But these, thanks, Matt, it is true, I am illiterate. But these are great places to start and great resources for finding other charities. All right. I've taken us through the incoming schedule. I have taken us through donate and everything else. So I think
We
I will
have a
turn it
poem
over.
to read.
We still have the poem to read, but I think I'll take us through quick introductions. We'll be introduced more to the characters as we keep going, but starting it off, as I mentioned, my name is Galway. I'm the GM for tonight. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am going to pass it to Elise.
Hello, my name is Elise. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I play Mix, who is the leech. She's a leech.
Yeah, playbook is good.
Okay, Heather.
Okay. I'm Heather. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am playing Ren, aka Lady, who is a Minotaur whisper. I'm a whisper.
I forgot to
His
give
pronouns are
Mix's,
he, him, his.
Yeah, Mix's
Sorry.
pronouns are she, her, hers. Sorry.
So, and I'll give it to Sam. I think that way.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for your delightful, kind words. Oh man, it was so much fun putting this music together and the trailer.
That was amazing.
Hell yeah. All right. But tonight, you can call me Hux, the Hound, and we both go by he, him, his pronouns. Roof. And I'm gonna pass things to my side piece, Rachel.
Hi. I see you've taken the Barnabas route, and I apologize to your throat in advance. I'm Rachel. I use she, her, hers. I almost said programs. I don't know. I also can't speak.
That too.
I'm programmed.
Rachel's a robot.
to use
Rachel's
she,
a
her,
robot.
hers pronouns. And I play Gramps, who is also a Minotaur, but real sexy and old. And he uses he, him, his pronouns, and he is the slide. And still, of course, going up to my power top, Chris.
Oh, thank you, my beautiful power bottom. I am Chris. I go by she, her, hers, and I am playing Nozamuk Venmus, aka Mook, who is a tiefling, and she goes by she, her, hers, and she is the spider.
Very nice. Yeah, so does someone want to take the poem?
I can take it.
Sure thing.
Okay. As the waiting screen comes to a close, throughout the amazing new trailer, anticipation grows. Within a world so complex and magnificent by design, the moment has come to explore a new timeline. Excitement is building for Blades in the Dark, the talented GM, players, and this story arc. The gang is assembled to begin the campaign. The aesthetic alone is reason to join the steampunk hype train. No doubt this job is far from simple, with glorious chaos and adventure to ensue. Much love, tier crew. I can see and hear you. Thank you so much.
Yay!
Beautiful poem. Very well read.
Steampunk
Heather,
hype
Rachel,
train.
Rachel, are you ready?
Oh,
It's for Chelsea for the poem. We know what that means now.
I know what it means now. Watched Korean things.
Really glad because for some reason, for a moment, I was sure you were just going to say Koreans. I was like, no, please no.
They don't know it, but I do.
I watched them.
Oh, right. Well, that's setting the tone nicely for a dystopian future. So before we launch into the scene, normally I would have us do a recap, and the players would do that because that's a system I shamelessly borrowed from Elise, which I love for the character of it. But we have nothing to recap at the moment. So I'm going to do just a brief preamble, which covers both some things about the system and the game we're playing, and also about the world that we're looking at. Blades in the Dark is a role-playing system. Yeah, hold up. There we go. Yep, cool. Good job. By John Harper. It prioritizes cutting to action and then dealing with consequences. Lots of improvisation and ability to overcome bad things to encourage players to just go for it, instead of trying to produce a perfect plan and spending a lot of time bogged down in planning and minutia. I think we're going to have a ton of fun of it because, honestly, that plays to all of the strengths of this crew, and it honestly plays to a lot of the strengths of the way that I like to GM. So hopefully everybody watching, you have a good time with this. We are all learning this system. So I ask for your patience if we pause and review a rule, or try to figure out what the hell a rule means, or wrangle for 45 minutes over exactly what the level of an item should be. It's fine. That one wasn't already a lived experience. And we encourage you to learn the system along with us. I think it's a really, really cool system. I think it's a really interesting approach to the narrative, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of the systems will define just as we come to them inside play, but if we are mentioning something that you are not familiar with, please feel free to throw a question in the chat, and the players or I will be happy to do our best to answer them. That may involve me saying, hey, I'm going to get back to you because I need to flip through a book to answer that. A quick note on tone and content. If you could not tell from the trailer, Blades in the Dark was a system that was designed to capture, and I have embraced, daring criminal adventures in a dark, hostile world. As such, there will be darker content than a lot of what I've done previously with tier games. This could potentially include crime. Honestly, if they're doing it right, it should include crime. Otherwise, things have gotten weird. Drug use, sex work, nationalism, classism, etc. So think of Spire in a lot of ways, if you're familiar with our other content. We're not going to be engaging in explicit description or roleplay of sexual encounters or anything, but I just want to make sure that everybody is aware this is not necessarily as light as most of the other tier content. And so finally, turning to Tier A Simple Job, a new era, a new job, what the hell it means for it to be AS 2494. You all may have been familiar with the world of Tier, which we have had multiple campaigns in, but in this era, called After the Shattering, our game takes place 2,494 years after the Shattering broke the sky, killing the sun and leaving the world trapped against monsters that now roam the darkness and the ink-black seas. The cities of the remaining population are defended by lightning barriers, sparkcraft, huge bastions that are powered by the blood of demonic leviathans from the sea. And these cities are sort of the last holdouts of life and normalcy in Tier. Technology, including alchemy and sparkcraft, have developed to help people deal with the dangers of the world. So again, think sort of a steampunkish level. Dishonored and Bloodborne are both games that are frequently mentioned as sort of comps for setting and tech level. But while the cities offer safety, they're also pressure cookers, where the haves and the have-nots are often brutally separated, even though they are physically extremely proximate. The city of Shattercrown is the northern jewel of the Baruchian Empire, an aggressively expansionist pillar of Tier. It is positioned to the northeast of Tier, and the city of Shattercrown is positioned directly on the northern sea, in what was a river delta before the tortured writhing of the land made it into large islands with coasts to either side. In recent years, things have been calm, but 30 years ago now, the Baruchian Empire absorbed Malapin, one of their smaller neighbors. These new proud citizens of Baruchia were extensively and forcibly resettled in the north to avoid the danger of an uprising, and were less than welcomed by many of the inhabitants of Shattercrown, who did not get the memo that expansionism meant joining the nation. Now, however, peace with their neighbors of Findon, Wedsons, and Telegia have brought prosperity to the Empire and to Shattercrown. However, following an accident that shrunk the lightning barrier, the influx of Malapinians, and the need to support the Empire's goals for development, pressure has begun to build in the city. And now, unknown to many, certain forces are beginning to act, shifting and shuddering the city of Shattercrown. But right now, our story is centered on a small bar in the slum district of the Shambles, where 5 figures are gathered at a dingy table, peering at a letter. I am going to think about my life. Put you all there so that you can see the revised map one time. I am not currently, and this is a technical note, I'm not currently planning to be showing Roll20 very often because we're not doing battle maps or anything else. I will, coming up, add ways to show you things, so I will show you the map in a little bit, but they're in the southeast. They're in the Shambles, which is one of the roughest parts of town. No, actually, it is the roughest. It's also where most of the Malopinian refugees were resettled. Actually, hold on one second. Just so I can show people the map temporarily, and then we'll take it down. This is the city of Shattercrown. To the east and the west, you have various districts at various levels. I'll put some stuff in. But right now we are in the Shambles, which is by far the poor. And as I cut over, you lot sit around a table in the corner of a simple, quiet, dirty, dark tavern called the Polite Raccoon, located within the Shambles. In front of you on the table is a letter from Bastion Middlemist, an associate-ish of each of yours, someone with whom you have some familiarity, you have some connection. He's thrown you jobs from time to time. He's a former spider for a gang of bravos, so he was the planner for a sort of group of sellswords. He made it out because he was a good spider, but his gang, though they rose quickly, fell much faster. And he's sort of made his life as a quasi-information broker, making some money off the margins, but mostly keeping his nose out of it because he didn't want to end up very, very dead. And yeah, before we sort of go through what the letter has, would each of you like to describe what the waiter, who is 100% not fucking coming around because you've been in here for a few hours and you've ordered like one drink each, but what he would see if he bothered to come back over? You can start with Elise. On you.
Yeah. So, Mix is a half Aerogenazi, half Drow young woman. She's kind of young, and her posture and demeanor probably make her seem a little younger than she is because she has that kind of standoffish teenager look about her of like hunched inside her coat, collar up a little, like hiding some of her face, a little surly, like, don't look at me, do not perceive me. And she largely passes as a drow, which is overall a good thing for her in that drow are a kind of expected people of Shattercrown, which helps her hide her Aerogenazi heritage, which is Milipinian, and which is, of course, what was, as Galway said, and everybody remembers very clearly, the country that was taken over 30 years ago. So she's lived in Shattercrown her whole life. I don't have to give you a backstory. Let's just focus on what she looks like. But the reason I'm telling you at least about the Aerogenazi thing is you see like maybe her sleeve kind of rolled up because she's bored and she's like waiting for things to change. And on her arm, a little bit of that kind of classic Aerogenazi like cloud-like wisps on her arm that normally she keeps covered with long sleeve blouses and tunics and things that would otherwise not be visible. And then on her face, she has plenty of piercings, one in her lip, one in her nose, a couple on her eyebrow, and several on both ears that's peeking out of kind of long, sleek black hair. And she is absolutely just trying to not be noticed. So you can picture that. And we'll just keep things the way they were, Heather.
Okay. So I am playing Lady. His real name's Ren, but he goes by Lady. And he is average to tall size minotaur. So what, maybe 6'6", something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, he used to be a Leviathan hunter, like a sailor, but now he's living in Shattercrown and trying to make his way there. He's got scars, like a scar coming down the left side of his neck and on his shoulder from Leviathan hunting, but usually keeps that covered up and just kind of thoughtful. He's pretty quiet a lot of the time, but yeah, doesn't really speak up a whole lot, and that's gonna be hard for me. Sam.
So I'm a bugbear, but I kind of look more like a wolf. 5'8", 5'9" with the ears. Got some scars on my face. And my fur, as you can very clearly tell, is very brown and patchy. I'm missing some fur because when I was a little lad, I got a little bit of a bug and it ate away my fur in places. I've got a black and gray leather trench coat, nice big poofy broad collar. I have a tricorn hat, which is kind of like a pirate hat for those at home. And I'm late 20s, early 30s. I don't really know when I was born, but the lack of fur in places makes me look a lot older than I actually am. And last but not least, I have a green and a white eye.
So one eye that's half green, half white. Got it.
No, I have the
Can't believe
form
you
of
played right into your
heterochromia.
fucking trap, Sam.
I have the form of heterochromia where you have two different colored eyes, not one eye that has
So one's white on the
two
top, green on the bottom, and the other one's green on the top, white on the bottom.
Yes, this is not
But depending on his
centralized
which,
heterochromia.
I just want to know, are you at least over the mange?
I'm over. I got over the mange a while ago.
But the pattern baldness is permanent.
Yeah. And he looks over to the Minotaur on his side.
Since Lady already introduced himself, I'm assuming it's my turn.
Mhm.
Hi. I'm Titus, right? But most people call me Gramps. I'm in my 50s, but I look real good for my age. I am 6'5", so nice, big, very muscular. Light brown fur. I've got 2 horns, but one is broken, and I have a metal tip on the end of one. The look on my face is just like always a genial smile. I look real happy and welcoming. But my face is very scarred, as is my body, because I was also a Leviathan hunter. I have a lot of ear piercings, and I have a nice, like, white button-down shirt that's always open down to, like, the navel, you know? So there's just a lot of, like, open chest, and I've got my sleeves rolled up to my elbows, and on one of my pecs I have a tattoo of a bunch of tentacles bursting out of the water. And yeah, I just look real relaxed and confident, and I'm just smiling at everybody and looking
Gramps
around.
or daddy?
This has
Yeah,
been a
it's great.
talking point.
But literally, though, Lady and Gramps are actually related. So,
True.
yes.
And now I will look over at Chris's character.
Mook is a tiefling, and she has light red skin, and she has her horns come out from just the front of her forehead, and they start off red, about the same color as her skin, and then they gradually get darker, and as they come up and curl, they turn to a dark brown. And she has long, curly, dark brown hair, with just kind of like this. If anyone has ever watched the show Lucifer, that is who Mook is kind of like based off of. That just very kind of shifty, observant, and very indulgent look and demeanor about her. She's definitely looking to find out what people most desire so that she can either take that and use that, or take it and use it against them. She has light orange eyes, and she wears a long, kind of a medium brown trench coat that is slightly tattered at the edges. She has a light brown tunic style top that does kind of like come down in like a V-neck. And on top of that is kind of like a blue checkered kind of vest. She does have skin tight brown pants, knee-high boots, but on both thighs there are straps that if you just saw the straps, you're not quite sure what they would hold, but they do hold knives. They are kind of concealed by the trench coat. And she just is definitely, she's intrigued with what's going on at the table because she's also a spider. So, news from a former spider is always something that could have a benefit to her. But she's also checking out the rest of the bar.
Yeah, very good. When Chad already said, I love these characters already. But yeah, looking around the bar, there's not a whole lot to check out. You're located in the south, sort of western part of the Shambles. So you're on the eastern coast. You're not on one of the islands of the Shambles. But you're down by Ashtown, which is so named because the west wind blows the ash from the factories across the river and settling into it. It's the second least nice part of Shattercrown, which tells you something about the Shambles. The place that's literally named for being choked with pollution ranks above the Shambles. The part of the Shambles which borders Ashtown is definitely the least nice part of the Shambles. And that is where you are. The wood is dark and soot stained. There are very few patrons in here. It's mostly people, a lot of whom work in the factories of the grind, the factory district, who are back getting like a meal, or spending what little coin they have on alcohol to sort of forget their troubles. It's very quiet. Everyone is just this is not a place for loud, boisterous conversations. This is a lot of people sort of eating their food, drinking their drink, and getting on with their lives. Yeah, so like everyone's eyes are sort of downcast. And the letter in front of you, which is also in your handouts, and I will show to players because I think that makes it pop up for you. I will read to you. All right, you lot. Glad tidings of a simple job. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, to be fancy about it, I have a chance for you to change your lives. May change them by ending them, but that's your choice, not mine. On occasion, I hear some interesting things around the Shambles, and as it happens, I've heard something quite interesting from someone quite interested. The river lurks have been getting more aggressive recently. You would know that this is one of the factions of Shattercrown. They are gondoliers and canal folk that have turned to crime. Usually it is sort of hijackings or robberies making use of the waterways. They've been expanding their territory to include more land around the canals instead of just patrolling the waterways. They're funding this expansion with more robberies and hijackings. Yesterday, they set upon a cargo boat owned and operated by the Three Coins, another faction, a merchant group, focusing on transshipment of goods. Now, nothing major was taken as far as the coins are concerned. They're willing to write it off. But there was one piece of merchandise that there are parties that want it back. You are looking for a crate marked with a 4-colored swirl with a red set of merchant scales on it. Get it and deliver it to this address in the shambles, and you will be well rewarded. So that's it then. You go, you get the simple thing done, and then I'm quite grateful to you. Others might be as well, not really worth thinking about those, though. That gratitude isn't going to be enough to attract the attention of a crew that's already up and running, but for you, your sort, still finding your way, still trying not to be hired help for someone else's jobs, it could be quite attractive. Get this done, and I'll get you a place. I know a couple of options, nothing fancy. You want trapdoors to nowhere or fancy benches, that's your decision and your tab. But it'll get you the place to start. I should have a bit of coin I could spare for you as well, and I've no shortage of people that listen to me when they're considering the kind of people that they want to hire to get things done. So you can be one of those crews that they hire, and you can be a crew well and truly. I like you each well enough to say that there's a good chance you don't come back from this. But if you do, you'll come back to be a crew with a proper base, prospects for the future, and enough coin to get you started. Think it over. You have until the tolling of Church Watch on the second day, and after that, I am going to have to go with someone else. Please do not bother asking who. Bastion Middlemist.
Is Bastion at the table with us?
No. You expect him to arrive shortly for your answer. You have intimated to him that you would be interested. You might have a couple of questions for him. Then you haven't committed yourselves, but you all can sort of talk about the contents of the letter, what you're thinking, and then we will have Bastion come in.
There's something quite obviously missing here.
Do
He
tell.
left out of this letter what is even inside of this box.
I mean, what does it matter what's inside the box? What matters is how much we get paid.
We don't
Not-
really care what's in the box.
Well, it's just,
But-
it matters if parties are looking for it. So do we need to like be worried about parties looking for the box and then parties looking for us because we never bothered to find out what was, I don't know, like in the box?
It would be useful to know who else is after it, so we know who to be on guard for.
My dear Hux,
Still muted.
we're always on guard.
You go around asking too many questions and people aren't going to like it. Sometimes you just got to accept that you're not going to know everything. We can
Yeah,
ask
well-
if who else is interested, but I don't think it's proper to ask what's inside the box. If he wanted us to know, he would have told us.
I mean, at least maybe we can find out a few more details about the people who want it back, just so that we know, like,
Great idea.
no one's gonna like, after we finish the job, come find us and be like, why did you take this job?
They
And
probably will, to be fair.
that's true.
How big is the box? How heavy is the box?
We can carry it regardless, right? We don't have to worry.
Yeah, that's true. Very
And we'll clasp hands and flex together, like is our normal thing that we do.
true.
So, are we taking the job?
Yeah.
Got nothing else
Yep.
going on.
We might as well.
I
you.
guess.
I like how we all paused and we're like, is there? I don't want to talk over him.
We all paused.
Oh.
It begins. At this, the door swings open, and up by the signboard, which features a raccoon tipping its hat, there was sort of once a bell, but it's missing like the clapper and most of the sort of bolts that would hold it to anything. It's just sort of a piece of metal that kind of rattles when someone walks in at this point. But you hear that rattle, and you see a relatively well-dressed man for the shambles. He's not particularly well-dressed. Shirt, waistcoat, hat, carrying a walking stick, who will sort of walk in, look around. I forgot that this place was... And he's going to sort of see you all and walk over, and you all know and recognize Bastion Middle Mist. And he'll sort of... All right, you lot. How do we feel about the job?
We'll take it.
Excellent. I like decisiveness.
Oh, but we also have questions.
Of course you do. You're looking well, Gramps. And he'll sort of like pat a bicep.
Always. And I wink at him.
He'll sort of lean back, gesture over the waiter. Yes, whiskey. Prop his hat on top of his cane, and then sort of... Questions?
Who else is... We understand if you don't want to tell us what's in the box. It's,
That
if you
would
want to
be
tell us what's in the
helpful.
box, you're more than welcome to. But who else is looking for the box? Any other information about the box? Should we be worried about other people, other things? Anything that you know would be great.
Let's make an action roll. So you are essentially trying to just talk to him, and I'm trying to think what action you might be thinking about using here. So for those playing along at home, and as a refresher for everybody playing, when you make an action roll in Blades in the Dark, the players technically define the action, unlike D&D. I don't call for them to make a check. They say, hey, I want to do this. Because we're learning, we're going to work out what that action is. But I'm not defining it to the players. They roll a number of d6s equal to the number of marks that they have in it, and then they take the highest roll. A 6 is a complete success, 4 or 5 is a success with a complication, and a 1 through a 3 is a failure, abject failure. If they have no pips in anything, they just roll 2 dice and take the lower.
If I click the thing, does it just automatically roll? Or
yes, it actually will. Technically, this is going to be in the form of a luck roll, but it can use... No, which still uses multiple dice. The reason for this is that luck rolls, you can fail, but you don't take complications usually. As opposed to like, the situation doesn't get worse. We're basically saying you're going to get information from him, but it might be, no, I'm not telling you anything, or he might tell you something quite helpful. You could roll your
Consort?
it'd probably either be consort or sway.
Yeah.
Your sway. Yeah.
Consort does say that you're like leveraging friends for information. So that feels like this is kind of directly that.
But I'm also trying to
gain
sway
access
someone
to
with
resources.
charm. I don't
Logic.
Yeah, if
My
you're trying
thought
to
was
charm,
that-
I would say sway.
know.
Like if I were to ask him, I
difference
would
between
use
the two is
consort
little.
because of like the background of being a spider. But for you, I
Right.
think sway.
I think because I'm like my
You're-
whole
you're-
being is trying to charm this person into like, hey.
And I feel
Tell me
like
all
with
the-
you, and again, this is where we go. You're picking the action. Yeah, I agree that sway feels like this applies here. So you're going to roll a number of dice equal to your sway. and we're just going to take results based on your high roll. So, Rachel
What's
is
my
the
position? Risky, controlled, desperate, or fortune roll?
You don't actually need to worry about that. There's also a little button for luck rolls if you wanted to use that, but
I don't see it.
it's not. It's a separate button, but just don't worry about it. Just it doesn't affect the number
Which
of
one
dice
should I
you're
pick
rolling.
then? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just like risky and standard or whatever.
Submit. Bonus dice 0. Got
Any
so
of
many questions.
4 and a 6, so you have a complete success, which I believe in the case of luck dice is a sort of extended or powerful effect. Yeah. So he's gonna stop and sort of look at you. He goes, well, one party that is looking forward are the ones who have employed me to employ you. They are not keen on having their identities circulated, hence the me then you, so you'll understand if I do not share that information.
Of course.
I perhaps can tell you more about who doesn't particularly care about the cargo than about who does. The 3 coins, as I mentioned, have entirely written this off. They are uninterested, they do not care. The river lurks only care about it inasmuch as it is one more box amidst the rest of their haul. They have no particular interest in this piece. And then for the 6, I have heard that others have been asking about the Riverlurk's base, asking about who and what might be around, but I do not know who those people are. As a note, with especially luck rolls where you're trying to get the effect, essentially, of doing this, trying to get information, the NPC might lie to you, but I will grant you generally truthful information. With fortune rolls, it's really just about how much information you get. It's, you're going to get very little information if you roll badly. You're going to get a lot of information if you roll well.
Well, that leads into my next question, which is a one you're going to hear from me often, Galway, and I'm sorry, because of my special ability, like looking into a mirror, which says I can always tell when someone is lying to me.
He was not lying. He's heard that
I didn't think so, but
yeah.
I'm gonna ask.
Yep, no, 100%, and good for you to invoke that. Every playbook comes with a special ability or multiple special abilities. The players each starting out get to pick one. Gramps is like looking into a mirror. He always knows when someone is lying to him. However, it has the drawback of including if they're telling a kind lie. No, he's not lying. He doesn't have very much information. He's heard somebody's looking for it, and he does not know who it is.
Do you have any information that you think would help us that you haven't told us yet? Not that you're withholding. I would never accuse you of withholding anything. But any information that perhaps that you think might help us in this task?
What? Wow, and I already got the mechanics of that roll wrong. Cool. Good job, Galway. It's fine. Sort of pause and consider. No, I included in the letter the location of where my informants suggest that they are holding the cargo. I have had little enough involvement with the Riverlurks personally I cannot tell you much more. They are not an especially sophisticated crew. They are expanding, and they are newcomers here. They've always patrolled the waterways, but this is the first time that they've tried to really hold territory in the Shambles or Ashtown, so perhaps you could use that to your advantage. They are not as familiar with the terrain here. This would be a very different job if they were in Fenborough.
Perhaps, do any of my compatriots have any other questions that you want to ask, or?
What is the payout on this job? I don't recall that actually being in the letter.
The payout for this is that I will help provide you through my connections with a place where you could set up shop for yourselves. As I mentioned, I have a few options that you'll be able to pick from, depending on what suits your needs. Some in different districts, some better suited for perhaps some types of operations than others.
We
You
lost,
lost
Craig.
Craig.
Cool. I got really concerned when I saw everybody but me reacting.
Now recording.
Sure, buddy. Good job.
Thanks, Craig.
Besides which, I can offer you personally 2 coin to go along with what you can take besides the cargo. I will say, just like in his letter, this is not an especially well-paying job in just the coin. It is mainly being able to utilize his connections to get a lair for the future, which is difficult to categorize in coin.
Sounds like it would be a pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Did he specify where his informants were thinking the cargo might have been stored?
Yes, the letter included a location. It's a small abandoned, well, officially abandoned warehouse and boat slip in the Shambles, which has been taken over in the last several months by the River Lurks, and they're starting to use it as a base of operations inside the Shambles. They are not a gang that is based here, generally.
I did have one other question. How big is the crate, so that if we want to plan for how we're gonna cover it up or anything?
It is from what my employers have mentioned, it is a standard size packing crate, relatively heavy, so you may wish to take some kind of precaution against that, but as Lady just flexes at him. Yes, just so, Lady. Pats you on the forearm. Looking good, looking good. Keeping up with Gramps, I see.
He tries.
Were there distinguishing marks on this crate? You'll have to forgive me. I don't think I paid too much attention to the letter.
Yes, there were. It is the only crate in the shipment. It is on the side of the crate, bears a mark of 4 swirled colors with a red merchant's scales on top of it.
Would this mean anything to Hux?
Make a history check.
Not really, actually. You're familiar with kind of the gang and crew insignia. Like if it had literally been the mark of 3 gold coins, you would have known that that's 3 coins cargo. The River Lurk is a set of eyes coming out of the river. So like you're familiar with most of the sort of Shambles and Ashtown area. However, if it's something that the 3 coins were carrying, they, in addition to being merchants, just do a lot of shipments. It could have been someone from an entirely different area. Like this could be a symbol from a group that's not in Shattercrown. And I see that chat has gotten our first breadcrumb.
Well, if we're all decided, when shall we start?
I assure you I leave the details entirely to you. if you are taking this job, it will be yours for the next 2 days. If I should happen to be unfortunate enough to hear of your, brutal deaths, dismemberment, flight, I will arrange for others to take the job.
There will be no
Well, it
need.
definitely won't be the third one. We never run from an opportunity. Sorry, lady.
I agree.
He'll pat the bicep again. And he'll sort of stand, brush down his vest, look down. He's basically been answering questions since he got here and just sort of like take the sort of tumbler of whiskey and just tip his cap to you. Very well. For what it is worth, I wish you the very best of luck. And with that, he will walk on out. So, normally, the way that Blades in the Dark sessions are suggested to be run, you basically start with some free play and then you go straight to the score. Often you have done the work in the previous session to sort of find your next job. So like the last thing you would do would be to sort of figure out what types of jobs you might do next time. And that also gives you an opportunity that's sort of built in to try to find out more information and sort of line some things up. We're going to load that in here as well. So that, you're not just like, yep, we have an address. Whee! So if you would like wow, I like that my Twitch just flickered. Sorry. I just had a little welcome. I just got a little welcome to the chat room. I'm like, who is it welcoming to the I've never seen. Oh, it's me. It's me. It's welcoming to the chat room. That's weird. Hopefully stream didn't just blip for everybody. So I will say you are free to try to gather information, so you know where they are. You know who's involved. You can sort of reach out to contacts who are going to be making up on the spot, or actually you might have a relevant contact already. Yeah, what would you like try to learn?
So we know where they actually took the crate, like where it's being stored right now?
Yes, you have the literal address of the warehouse.
Okay.
Is this downtime, or is this just pre?
This is kind of the free play leading into. This is not technically a downtime activity.
Okay, cool.
It's a little bit of a hybrid,
know...
and that's still a thing that. Open statement. I'm still kind of figuring out what the balance of those two things are, because they're not super well defined. I have generally come to the conclusion that the downtime section lists specific activities you can do in downtime. Those are the things that are downtime. They're a limited resource. You can only do so many of them. The general gathering of information we can include in free play. There's just, it's a system that's also very much based on sort of common sense principles of, okay, if you're going to go take a day to run this person down and find them and ask them some stuff, you burned a day. You have 2 days to do this, so you can't do that 3 times, kind of thing.
I think a little reconnaissance can go a long way. Knowing
How many
where
people are guarding?
The number of people, where they're taking things, how many shipments come in and go out. We don't know if it's still even there. But the sooner we get an eye on it, the better.
My interest has totally peaked when he started talking about all these other people who are interested in these, and I just I feel like I need to go speak to Salia. I think she can give us way more information than Bastion is either capable of carrying or is willing to give.
Who's Salia?
I was gonna say which.
Yeah,
context?
do I know Salia?
Oh, Salia, I know I've spoken to you about her before. She's this quaint, wonderful, devious woman who knows the ins and outs, the comings and goings of absolutely everyone and everything. Let's
Yeah, I
just
don't know
say
why I didn't think of her.
she might owe me just a little bit of information on the free side.
Where is the river lurks? Like, where are they in the shambles? Right, the cargo that we are getting.
Yes,
I know
it
we are
is.
delivering it to the shambles, but
Yes,
it's also
and it is
being
in the
taken
shambles
from.
as well.
Okay.
So technically, it's on one of the small islands that you could see on the map. It's I even had little markers that I just was like, nah. Why would I need those? Waka waka. Wait. No, I'm not goddamn. Sorry. Now I know why I'm confused. I put those markers on this page, and then I just wasn't scrolled over enough to find them. So the first dot that I just put out on the map is where the cargo is. And this other dot is where you're delivering it to. So it is very much on the other side of the shambles. You would also know that generally, just as a note, this sort of socioeconomic status and niceness of the shambles is a gradient, with the worst at the south and the best at the north as it gets closer to Eastmarked.
Okay. So Mix, I guess this can be in character. Yeah, so I grew up in the shambles, so I know a couple of us did. So I guess I could like check out the routes and stuff and make sure that there's a clear route for us to take and know like where we're delivering it to, because I feel like, just making sure we know how to get it there would be important so we don't get slowed down.
Agreed.
Do we all need to do something separately, or could we perhaps do some things together?
You can absolutely do things together. Just, sorry, as the GM, you absolutely can do things together. It could help.
Oh yeah, this is just Gramps asking the party if they wanted to team up for some things.
Yeah,
I think for reconnaissance, maybe I'll be close by, but probably fewer people around me, the better.
I'm a good looker. I'm good and sneaky at looking, so I can
yes,
help
you
you.
are.
I can help Mix. I'm available for whoever wants. Basically, what I'm saying.
yeah.
Daddy is available and he's a good looker.
I'm not. I mean, I tend to blend in, but I'm not really like sneaky. So if we wanted to like get close, I shouldn't be with that group.
One mechanic, which I will just take this opportunity to highlight, which is on your character sheets. Down at the bottom, I should stop opening your actual character sheets. I left myself a Galway example sheet for a reason. Down at the bottom, there's 4 types of teamwork. Assisting, you take a stress and you add a die for them. Leading a group action, you roll the action and then everyone else does. You take the highest of your total dice pool and apply that effect, but the person who led it takes 1 stress for every failure other people led. So if you were super sneaky and you all need to sneak by, you could do it. Everyone gets to roll. You're just going to pile up some stress, but it lets you get a very non-sneaky crew through some stuff. Protecting a teammate means when they take a consequence, you can jump in front of it. The only cost for this is you take the consequence. You can resist it as normal. And then you can set up a teammate, which is basically a way to boost their effect by having done another action to set it up. So just, I wanted to highlight, because you would just comment on the, I'm not good at sneaking. And I'm like, group actions are there to fix that.
So could theoretically then, what Mix wants to do / what Hux wants to do, these kind of are similar ends, right? Like, we're scoping out the place. One is trying to look for like an escape route or like easy way in.
Mhm.
I'm trying to see who is going in, what's being carried, so on and so forth. Could then this be a thing where I take the group action of like the prowl and to the ends of getting that information?
I had kind of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I had kind of interpreted what you were looking for, Hux, was the area around the target, and what Mix was almost more interested in was the route to the drop-off.
Yes.
So that would be
yeah.
kind of two separate actions, because Mix is primarily concerned with like, what's the best way once we have the thing to get to where we're going and not die along the way,
And know
Right.
like where we're going, so that like
and
when
have the
we get there-
fallbacks. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say that then that wouldn't make a lot of sense to put you together, because she's going to be able to start from just, we're here. I want to take what are my routes through? What's it going to take to get through?
Yeah.
Yours absolutely will almost certainly basically be a prowl followed by something else. It's a prowl to get in position.
Gramps
and
is
I would
basically
say
offering himself
survey.
to either of you, for whatever you would like. I have study and prowl for those things. Like I have one tick in each.
I've got survey, a Pippin survey, which is survey a location or situation to understand what's going on, sense trouble before it happens, gather information about opportunities or exploits. And that sounds like exactly what we want to do with looking at the warehouse.
I also have a Pippin survey.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, if either of you guys want to come with me, I think that Mook probably is going to go by themselves, right?
Well, I mean, Salia does like the big and brash type, so any of
Oh,
I'm always
or
happy to
Gramps.
make more contacts, physically and otherwise.
Well, just be aware that talking like that actually might happen.
Okay, I'm going with Mook then.
Gramps like stands back from the table. Have a good day, everyone.
Have fun, Gramps.
Who knows how long it will take, but I wish
Not
you all well
long.
in your duties.
About 4 minutes.
All right, so I believe, let me see if I have apportioned this correctly. Gramps and Mook are going to go talk to Salia to try to find out more information about who would be interested in all of this and maybe anything else that Salia has heard. Mix is going to check out the get the hell out portion of the route and the delivery. Hux is going to be sneaking in and trying to get a sense, and I believe also Lady
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
are going to do that.
Hudson,
And so
yeah.
you're going to team up and you're going to try to go get in and understand. I believe you were saying like the nature of shipments, regularity, how many people are around, stuff like that.
Where are they actually going to get in?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's then resolve these. Let's start with mixes.
I just want to add like that we said that we'd have like roll for my tinkering to my artificing
Yes, and we can
at some
do.
point.
You could go ahead and do that now.
Do we want to resolve that? Okay.
Yeah.
So I roll my 2 tinker dice.
Yes, and we.
What are you tinkering?
As part of setting up her character, Mix is an artificer, which means that she starts with one custom item already not crafted, but invented. And so now she's rolling to see if what level that's at.
And I can tell you all about it, I'm sure, but I have to tell it what position I'm risky, controlled? Is this
No.
controlled?
These don't matter. Those, by the way, don't do anything to dice. That's just there for our reference so that you don't just roll a 6 and a 4 and then I'm like, crap, what was it? Wow. Ugh.
Okay, well, it's so a 3 bumps. So the highest roll was a 3, and because I had this is my class ability, playbook ability, it does bump to 4-5 tier. So
Which
like
I
a success.
believe leaves it at the quality. It leaves the quality at your crew tier, which is 0.
Because we don't have a crew yet.
You also start at 0.
No, I thought
Okay.
my quality. That doesn't make sense because 4-5 is like the minimum quality that this thing can be.
You're not rolling. You're not rolling. That's not the total quality, though. 4 or 5 isn't the quality. This is
I know. It's tier plus 0. So the tier is 0?
Yeah.
So I would have had to get a 6 to even get a 1 on this? What's the point of being an artificer? That's stupid. Sorry, that's...
You can also do things like
as you go.
You can buy in coin.
I thought that my minimum quality was 2, and so the tier would be like a 2, and then I could get it up to a 3 if I rolled a critical success. I thought that's the point of the...
No, that's not how I've read that ability. It's bumping you up. So if you'd rolled a 6, it would have counted as a crit. So it would have bumped your like effect level up.
So there was no way to get anything better than a 1 on this.
You could have gotten a 2. A crit. If you'd rolled a 6, that would have bumped up to a critical. Because your ability, remember...
Why would a 6...
Because of your class ability, or your playbook ability, that bumps you up a tier of the results. So any 6 would have become a critical, which was +2.
It's still dumb.
I think we're also learning
It's kind of punishing to take this as the first.
I think that
ability.
there are some things that we're also figuring out are going to be a little bit more based on as your crew levels up, it gets better. Also, if you were later in the game, like even next session, you'll have coin, which you can spend to get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's a level 0. It's completely fucking useless, so I might as well have not done it. So I'll just carry on with what we were going to do in the first place.
So go ahead and give me a luck roll, and let me double check one. Watch people figure out a game on the fly. So I need to look at this because I don't remember all the words, and if I say the wrong word, it gets really confusing. You're gonna make a fortune roll, and I'm going to one dice for each trait array. So let's go ahead and say that you can roll 3d6 for this luck. You're a native of the area, you're very experienced, and this is the type of thing you're used to looking out for, along with just base 1.
What is the notes? When I rolled that fortune, it asks me how many dice, and then it says notes. Do I just leave that blank?
You could just leave that blank. It's probably so that you could put in for someone like, hey, here's what I'm rolling. 5. Mixed result, limited/partial effect. You are able to follow the path. There's a lot of options for getting between here and there, with the exception of the one choke point is going to be the bridge leaving the island, unless you get a boat. That's sort of the only choke point. Once you're back on the coast, you have options to get back up north. You're not really concerned. You also, this goes through a lot of neighborhoods that you know really well. You're pretty confident even that you could lose people, like even if they were tracking you. So your main concern is how to deal with thing off island. From there, you're pretty sure you're golden. Now let's go to the group that is chatting with Salia. You'll
Chatting.
where does Salia normally hang out?
Chatting.
Let's see. Where is it that I'm from? I'm from the Shambles?
Yeah.
Okay. So Salia, I guess I don't know the map well enough to know exactly where I would say she's at. Like, she's kind of like a broker of information. She is part of the underground or the underworld, but she's also kind of like has a little bit of like prestige. So I don't know like where to say that she would be.
I would say that she's probably actually up pretty near like the drop point.
Okay.
She might be on the other side of the canal. She's kind of on the very border of Eastmark, which is a nicer district. But honestly, a lot of her work is still dealing with like the Shambles and Ashtown. She's just been successful enough to be able to get herself out.
Perfect. Okay. So, do you want me to pick the name of her place?
You can just tell me like what kind of place does she hang out in? She's an information broker. Does she just sort of?
It's kind of we're gonna say like a tavern where she has her own table, like in the back, almost like kind of like a mafia boss where you'd walk into the Italian restaurant and he's back in that corner there. That's where Salia would be.
Nice. Yeah, so she hangs out in the Broken Butterflies Inn, which is down the southern end of Eastmark. You walk in, you kind of to the bartender, like having a word with Salia. You know, sort of, he knows you. He knows that you come and by and chat with her. So he'll walk you through while also staring appraisingly at Gramps. Like,
Of course.
hey.
Okay.
And then he goes back to serving drinks. Then you walk in and find Salia.
Salia, oh, I swear, every time I see you, you just look more and more gorgeous. You one day are going to have to tell me exactly what it is that you do to get that.
And every time I see you, if you lead with a compliment, you're looking for something.
Well, okay, so I guess we know each other very well then. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
Not at all.
We don't know each other very well at all. Hi, I'm Gramps.
Hello, Gramps.
Yes,
she'll shake your hand. She has a surprisingly strong grip.
Nice.
So, Salia, let's just cut to the chase here because I see you eyeing my friend, and I'm sure you'd like to have maybe a little mano-a-mano. Imano? Who knows what you're into these days. But, so, what kind of information have you been hearing about the River Lurks? And maybe a package that might have some attention to it.
You almost see her starting to respond, and then you say the second point, and you see her sort of then raise an eyebrow at you. Give me... What's your consort? How many action? Two? So give me a luck roll with 3 dice.
Okay, what do I click? Do I go to
Just roll
fortune?
3d6.
Just 3d6?
There's a fortune
I don't
roll.
have to.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
roll
sorry.
fortune? Okay,
Yep.
so I click that.
And then it'll ask you how many dice, put in 3, and you don't need to put in a note. The note is so that you can say like, oh, this was for this, or blah, 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 in case we were stacking up a bunch of them.
Can I? Oh, I guess I don't need to help if she's already having 3 anyway. So.
Actually, go ahead and roll one more d6 just because, sorry, no. Assistance is a mechanic. If you want to
Yeah.
assist, you'll take a stress, and she'll roll one more die.
I don't think it's worth
Okay.
it.
5, so partial or incomplete, but it's a success. She'll sort of raise an eyebrow at you. That is a direct question, isn't it, dear? Yes, the river lurks are expanding. They're leaving plenty of blood in the water as they do so, and taking their pick of the shipping at the moment. From what I've heard, the silvers are none too pleased with them, nor the 3 coins, nor the Lord Mayor. But, I've heard just a little of what you're talking about, I think. Some of my lesser competitors, I've gathered, have also received questions about this, and I don't think it was from you or your very handsome friend back there. I think they would have mentioned that. So I cannot tell you who is, but certainly someone is looking.
Interesting. What sort of vibe do you get from that? You know how vibes are just so important to what we do.
VBs? Sorry.
She'll sort of ponder. I find it hard to say. It seems likely to me that those river idiots stole something that they don't realize how valuable it is, and someone else is interested in it. If you're here asking, I know at least one person is, and if others were, at least 2. If you're going after this, Luke dear, I would recommend moving quickly.
Of course. I always gratefully appreciate all of your wisdom as well as your guidance. Now, if you should need anything, as you know, you can always call upon me, as we like to do our little exchanges. Shall I give you a moment with dear Gramps?
She'll be like, yes, off you go.
I'll turn and head back towards the bar.
I'm supposed to be fade to black. So
I was gonna say, and
technically, you're still sitting at a table. You just may want to talk.
Besides the implications of sex, anything that Gramps was specifically asking about or was searching for in particular?
It doesn't really seem like she knows a whole lot about like the crate and what could have been in it or who was, because she said like, oh, now that you're here, I could tell at least one person's interested in it. So it doesn't seem like she really knows anything, right? Was she lying about anything, Galway?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there were any of the pleasantries that were lies or anything particularly. Yeah, no, nothing from her would have read as a lie. I don't know if anything that Chris said would have read as a lie. But I don't think that, for example, non-lie based, but flattering hyperbole precisely falls into the purview of that skill.
Yeah. Then yeah, I don't think that I would have anything specific else to ask that Mook didn't already ask.
You enjoy some time in the company of Salia. And then you all can head back. Hux and Lady. You make your way across the bridge to this sort of southern isle that is also part of the shambles. This was all formerly part of the coast, and the coast actually sort of disintegrated in one of the floods, leaving this sort of little chain of isles that's now only partially connected by bridges. All of them are inhabited, all of them are part of the shambles, but some of them are only reachable by boat. You cross the bridge, you make your way sort of cautiously through the streets. And then you're trying to get sort of right up in on the warehouse.
I mean, if there's like a nearby rooftop, something, a little less obvious than me just walking to the front door.
Yeah. place to hang out on the dock where we can see the warehouse, something that,
Yeah, I'm just, yeah, so you could get up to a rooftop nearby, or at least you can try to, that would, you think, have a pretty good view of this boat slip and the connected warehouse. You'll need to make prowl rolls to get there to see both how successful you are at climbing it and how quietly you climb it.
and this is both of us?
Both of you, but it could be a group action. The only risk there is someone may take
Whoever
stress.
leads would take stress.
Potentially.
I have
I don't
two in prowl.
I have none.
So then would Heather still roll 2 and then take the worse?
Yes.
How does that work?
Yeah,
in a
or I
group?
could help
Okay.
you and you could roll 3. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that doesn't. And make it a group action.
Well, you can make it a group
Then-
action.
Oh, and then I would roll, but we take the highest out of.
You'll take the highest for the overall group success. It's just there could be stress coming if you roll a failure, a 1 to a 3.
Right.
I mean, I think it's like pretty critical that we don't get, caught right now.
Yeah.
So I would be comfortable with treating this as a group action, because I have 2 for prowl. And
Okay.
then
Let me just
you'd also roll. She'd also roll 2, right?
and take the
No,
lowest.
I think I'd take the lowest because I have no
Yeah.
pips.
So
Okay.
I'm just double checking. When you lead a group action, every PC involves making an action roll using the same action, in this case prowl, and the team counts the single best result as the overall effort for everyone who rolled. However, the character leading the group also takes 1 stress for each PC that rolled 1 through 3 as their best result. Everyone who failed, you'll take a stress.
So, okay, so I don't get a stress for every failed roll. I get a stress per each person that would have failed.
Correct.
Yeah. And I could
All
lead
right.
the group action if you want. Or,
It doesn't actually make a difference. That's the thing. You don't have to be skilled at a
Yeah.
group action.
right.
It would
Yeah.
technically be slightly better, odds-wise, if Heather leads it.
And why is that?
Well, it means that the stress goes to her. She's
Right.
well, I guess it's not better. The odds aren't better, but it means it allocates the stress to the person who's likely to fail.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As
okay.
opposed to
yeah,
you sort of
sure.
eating the stress to get other people through.
Right.
So we're
Okay.
leading a group action, which means you're both going to make me a prowl roll,
Right.
unless you're pushing yourself in order, using stress in order to roll more dice. You're just rolling both of these as no modifiers.
And what would the position be here? This feels controlled but risky. I don't know.
This is risky with normal effect.
Okay.
Okay.
There's,
Position.
you could fuck up.
risky.
You're not desperate. You're not controlled because it's not like this is your turf and you're not in control of the situation. You're just
Okay.
Wait, so wait. Standard, limited. I'm sorry. What was the effect?
standard. Sorry, I couldn't remember what the
Standard.
normal was.
Okay.
All right. So I succeeded. I got a 4.
Bonus dice. So since I have no pips in the bonus dice, do I put 1 so I roll 2 dice?
I think you.
It'll just roll.
I think you do 0 and it'll roll you 2.
It'll
Okay.
automatically roll.
It did.
2.
Okay.
So you rolled a 6 and a 2. So you take the lowest, meaning
is the
you
2.
resulted in a 2. You will take 1 stress, but
Okay.
the group as a whole
Succeed.
rolled a 4 for this
Oh.
action. Now, a 4 is a limited success, or what is it? Sorry, I realized that mechanically I know most of these things, but then I'm like, wait, what are the words they used? You do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer harm, a complication occurs, you have reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position on a 4 or a 5 with risk. Here's how I'm gonna rule this. You succeed, you make it up, and you make it up without being seen, which is sort of the thing. But as you're scrambling up, Hux, you make it to the top and sort of reach back to pull to give Lady a hand the rest of the way up. A small tile sort of slides off and shatters on the ground. And you're going to hear, what's that? Go check. And you're going to see someone who's dressed and walks with the role of someone who's used to being on a boat. Sort of come over and look at where the broken tile is. And I'm going to start a clock. Which is only partially about you all, but the guards get suspicious. I'm pressing the wrong button. I'm going to mark one tick in that. So it's a 4-tick clock. If it hit 4, if it completes, the guards are basically going to be categorically searching for someone.
Okay.
But now you are up on the roof. You do know there's at least 2 guards. You heard 2 people talking. And then you can, if you want to look, you could, I think, survey or study. Both of those would make sense.
I would like to survey.
Same here.
Okay. Do you want to help one another, or do
I think we both have 1 pip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, do you want... So one thing to think about in the mechanics of Blades in the Dark is, unlike D&D, where it's, oh, you succeed or fail, if you both roll, you're both exposing yourselves to a complication.
Right.
Even though you're both rolling at 1 die, so you have a 50% chance to succeed, you have a 5/6 chance of introducing a complication.
Right.
And if you do both
but
of
if
you...
we do
Or you could just have one person go. Or you could do a group action, or you could do a help.
Right.
Yeah, so what and now I feel like I really need to refresh. Like, what's like the help mechanic exactly? Does it...
The person there takes 1 stress, and the person taking the action gets an extra die.
Right. So it'd be one of us rolling 2 dice, the other person taking 1 stress.
Okay. I think that's the way to go about this, because then, yeah, it's 1 guaranteed stress, but it's,
It's only 1 consequence.
It's only 1 consequence, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're taking...
And we've already attracted some attention.
And you're already rolling at advantage because of the way the Blades in the Dark works. You're always taking the highest roll.
All right, okay. I'm happy to do the roll and take the stress, because you already took a stress.
So in this case, you're taking the stress. Heather will make the roll.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you're assisting. So Hux, how do you assist Lady with sort of looking for this information?
I think actually I want to go ahead and use my ability of Ghost Hunter, my Ghost Hunter ability here, which is your hunting pet, i.e. me, is imbued with spirit energy, blah, 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 and it gains an arcane ability, Ghost Form, Mind Link, or Aeroswift. I've chosen Ghost Form for my little astral projected self. I think what I want to do with this, I mean, how close exactly are we to the
So if you have like the warehouse and the boat slip, then there's another sort of warehouse type building. You're on the near edge to that of the next one over.
Okay. In that case, I think I'm going to have my my astral projected self. I think I want it to do some sleuthing because it's able to get, through intangible barriers.
Do you get an extra die for that? Because in that case, you should roll, because you'd get 3 die, and I would go ahead and take another stress.
It doesn't say how how this impacts rolls or anything. It just says.
I would also say that
I
while
have
we're
this.
flavoring it as like it's astral projected, it's originally supposed to be like it's a pet, like it's literally a hunting hound. It would be difficult for him to use that to be the thing looking.
Okay.
It can kind of help because it might be able to like, again, sort of similar to like a pointer hound of be like, hey, you should look over here. And like it can, so I would accept that as that's a way that you're being helped, but I don't think that it gives him like a full die on things. So you will be rolling survey. Your circumstances are risky. You have standard effect and you have 1 bonus die.
Standard. 1.
Yeah, I feel like the aid here would be like, if there are people, we can kind of smell them out. Okay.
Well, I got a 2 and a 3.
And so am I taking the stress for this?
You were already taking a stress for the assistance, yes, so you have 1 stress.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
That's a failure.
You're peering out and you see the sort of ghostly form of Hux's spirit pointing to something interesting, and you twist and you're sort of looking and you're trying to see what it is. And underneath you, you just hear a, "Hey, who's up there?" And I'm going to say we have marked 3 ticks on the 4-tick clock. The guards are now alerted.
I hear like the solid snake sound, the sound, yeah.
So this clock is done. The guards are alerted. As much as this is a failure, I will also say you hear several more shouts coming from the warehouse. So you know that there are more than 2 is the result. And you also know what part of the building the spirit hound was pointing to. And it did seem to be a door that was sort of along the side. Because I think it's freely available and you would all be able to see this. There's a boat slip that then has a covered path that leads to the back of the warehouse. There's a door on the front of the warehouse, and then the ghost hound pointed out there's a door sort of on the side. You're not exactly sure why the ghost hound was excited about it, but that's what the ghost hound was reacting to. The door, the windows and everything are all boarded up. It is decrepit. It is not, the building is not at all taken care of. The brick is crumbling in a lot of places. One thing that is worth remembering, just as we picture these scenes in our head and as the audience does so, it is always dark in Shattercrown. The sun is dead. So it is, everything is lit by gas lamps. There's only a couple out here. One is directly across from the door of the warehouse you're looking at, and one is sort of in front of the warehouse that you all are standing on, and you think that that's why you didn't notice this person coming and he was able to see you. You were just sort of uplit just a little bit. You do not think he knows who you are. He wouldn't have been able to get a good glimpse at you, but he clearly knew someone was there. You are hearing shouting. What would you like to do?
Okay, so I think my character would probably know this, but I have no idea. So my first inclination would be to like come up with some sort of an excuse, like ghost hunting or something, to give us, that's why we're up here. But I don't know if that would be something reasonable. Like, do people?
Yeah, you could. Okay, let me amend that. Let me just say one thing. Upon encountering the supernatural, the vast majority of NPCs and characters will either become paralyzed or flee with fear. That is literally a standard consequence of being in the presence of a ghost. Whispers are immune from that. Whispers, you sort of have to roll if it's a particularly powerful spirit. You could pass doing that. It might be harder to explain, although you don't know if they've seen Hux. So, like, you might be able to be like, I'm, interested in this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. That might be plausible. I'll say that. You're definitely going to have to roll for it, but...
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Okay.
If you're a ghost hunter, you're chasing after me.
And like, you hear his astral projected Hux dog barking.
Okay. So then, yeah, I would definitely say ghost hunting, chasing one now.
Oh, you're going to just shout that down at the guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. What action is blatantly lying to a dude?
So that might be sway. Oh, I don't have
And if it helps, as this is happening, the astral dog is now like barking and running down the alleyway. And you said they would be mortified.
Yeah. So remember, the assistants or setups are going to be sort of mechanics that involve stress. Let me double check one thing. I'm going to say that it's a sway roll. How do you want to roll it?
Okay. But could he roll something like to intimidate them, since he is an astral projection, or does that have to be a help roll? Like, does he have to help me with that?
Actually, here's what I'll say.
Sway.
He's done a setup action, and I'm not going to actually make him roll because he has an ability that does this.
Okay.
And we're going to improve your position. You'll roll it at controlled now, because they're more inclined to believe you. They're less likely to think that this is just you straight up lying to them.
Okay, so sway position is controlled. And then
standard effect,
standard, and no bonus dice.
Correct.
Oh god, okay.
Unless you want to push yourself.
Oh my god, I should have pushed myself.
Ow.
Is pushing not... Okay, I guess you can't take that in retrospect, but I totally forgot that was an action.
I did too. Yeah, so you push yourself and you get an extra die, right?
Yes. Which in your case would have pushed you to one die that you were taking the face of, because your sway was at a 0.
Okay. So yeah, so since I got 2 2s and I have to take the lowest.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just pondering here real quick. But you were in a controlled position. Which
Heather,
matters.
we're doing so freaking well. It's incredible.
No.
I'm regretting not going with you now. I have both prowl and sway.
Okay. I'm going to say this. He does not...
I have prowl and sway too.
He does not believe you. You have two... you have a choice.
Okay.
You can either try to just fucking book it and get away, or you can press on and I'll let you make a sway roll again, but this time you're in risky position because he does not believe you.
Okay.
What is the position change?
Can I be making the sway roll because I'm the one with the dog that's running around?
No, that's going to be an entirely different circumstance.
Okay.
Okay, how about this? The astral dog is running down the street. I'm just going to book it after the astral dog.
Okay, so you're just trying to do the run and you're trying to sort of sell that that's what you're going for.
Right.
I guess.
So yeah, I'm literally just going to continue with chasing
You can get
the
down on the
astral
other side.
dog.
And you could get down on the other side of the warehouse. Hux. He doesn't know
Okay.
you're there.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stay put while that's happening.
Okay.
Is this gonna be like?
Give me a fortune roll.
Okay.
Fortune roll, and I'm going to say 2 dice
Okay.
for a reason that you'll soon see.
Because I'm like, how could he not believe me? There's the astral dog, and here I am running after it. So number of dice 2.
I feel like the Marauders rolling luck is
5 and a
definitely shown.
4.
Okay. You kind of like desperately let yourself down and just tear off after this sort of baying Hound of the Baskervilles-esque dog that's running through the street. The guy goes to like, wait, no, oh. As he sees that. And then you see him go entirely still. And in the back of your mind, you feel the tickle of a ghost standing near you. Your breath is beginning to like crystallize. It's not even just fog. The fog is crystallizing in the air as it gets very cold. And you see the ghost just sort of flicker in and out for a second and then disappear, and you just keep running. You're taking advantage of the fact that you don't have to shake off this effect. You are familiar with the effects of ghosts, and this guy seems paralyzed. So
Okay.
you get out of there.
Okay.
Hux, I will say that you can easily hop down the back. We won't worry about rolling for this anymore. And you can sort of get yourself.
I was planning on staying just a moment longer, actually.
Oh, sure.
Because I only took 1 stress, and as far as I know, my friend that I was more worried about is, vacated. And I also know that, for some reason, my astral self really liked a side door, so, I have 60% of my fur. I have a little bit, I can risk.
And they have no reason to believe that anybody else is up on the roof. So
So what are you trying to do?
You said there was a covered kind of path along the side and like a door.
It's off the back. It actually leads out to that boat slip. And then there's the door along the side, and then the big doors in the front.
Okay, and I know that there's a few people there, right?
And they're spreading out. You can hear people moving. You have finished the clock of the guards are fucking well looking around now. They are actively searching for someone.
If they're also looking, then yeah, maybe I do regroup instead. Okay.
So you all will fall back. You reconnoiter back at the polite raccoon, whatever I called it. I've forgotten already.
Polite raccoon. I wrote it down.
Mook is able to sort of say that Salia knew that people were looking for information on this. Gramps is able to say that Salia is really good company. Mix is able to say that the main concern is getting the hell off the little island, and then past there, you should be golden. Hux and Lady are able to give you a general layout of what this place looks like. Lady's also able to say that there was a ghost in the street, which just kind of flickered out. That's not unheard of, but it's slightly concerning. Ghosts don't make things better. So I think with this, we will come to the, and we will take our break to come into the score. But before we go to break, what is your plan? How are you trying to approach this? And why is there not just one of those handy little handouts for that?
So on the character
It's just
sheet,
planning and load.
yeah, assault, occult, deception, social, stealth, transport.
Thank you. That is what I was looking for. Silly me.
Okay.
I assumed it would be in a handout. Um,
So those are the things we have to.
you pick
Decide
one
on?
of those, and then you pick its detail.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
where was this exactly?
It's on your
On your
character
character
sheet
sheet.
next to special abilities.
Okay,
So do we
planning load.
pick one, or do we pick one as a group?
You
I
pick
think
one
as
as a group.
Because a group.
I'm gonna
I mean-
click it just so I can see. I don't know if it does any. Oh,
It seems like we're taking a stealth approach to this. We want to
Seems
sneak,
like it to me.
trespass unseen, get the thing, get out.
And
Although
we
I
know
guess
they
like
can, we know they can be distracted if we need to cause a
yeah, so there's also
Dispersion.
deception, which is like lure, trick, manipulate, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm knowing that there's a ghost around, I might be able to or I could find Nyrix, who I know that's a ghost that possesses people. Come help me with this. Or
Wait, Nyrix is also my contact, but they're not
Yeah?
a ghost.
oh, Nyrix, I have Nyrix, a possessor ghost.
I have Nyrix, a prostitute.
Ah, interesting.
Maybe
namesake.
possesses a prostitute.
Porque no los dos.
Ghost. I realized
Ghost
it should say
prostitute.
sex worker. Ghost
There we
sex
go.
worker.
Ghost.
Yes.
So yeah, you pick the type of plan: assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transport. And then you have to fill in the detail depending on what type of plan. It certainly seems like so far people have been leaning on probably the stealth approach, like you seem to be picking out. So where are you
Yeah.
trying to infiltrate?
Well, there
Wait,
was
do we
this-
does where have to be the missing detail?
Yes,
Or is that
stealth
just an
is the
example?
detail is the point of infiltration.
Oh.
Did they,
Oh,
when
I
they looked around,
understand
did
now.
they see any other entrances and stuff?
Okay, so the windows were all boarded up. There was a door along the side of the building that the dog was very interested in. There was a door in the back and on the front.
Where were the guards?
They were like spreading out
Yeah.
inside and outside of the location. So
Question.
Also,
Yeah. Go ahead. You go first.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, I mean, is this an in character? Like, do we all report back and we find out that like guards got tipped off and we might need to be expecting higher levels of guards?
Yeah,
or
you
is
all
this-
would know that.
Because then, I mean, that could technically change our approach.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
So you do know that.
But
you,
I don't
you
know if-
have the status of all of this. Because it's not like you're going, we're gonna, we'll do the roll when we come back in to drop into everything, but like you're probably going a bit later, like at least a few hours, if not, the next day.
And I would think, well, we have on our side that there was an actual ghost. I said I was ghost hunting. There was an actual ghost that, paralyzed one of their guards. So if nothing else is happening there in the next few hours, then maybe they'll assume I was telling the truth.
So we could either try to stealth, or I could go in and try to lie to them that there's a ghost coming.
I mean,
Get
that
to go
wouldn't
away.
really be a lie.
We could go in as take the deception route because we know that they've kind of been tipped off, but we can use that in our favor now. Go the deception route. Tell them we're a crew of ghost hunters, that our specialty is removing ghosts. They have this account of. Sorry, I'm not even attempting a character voice.
No.
I
But they
forgot
also didn't
that
believe.
exists.
They didn't believe Lady when he said he
No.
was a ghost
But
hunter.
then there
So
was a
while they saw the
ghost.
ghost, but they still the disbelief still exists in
Yeah.
what I think that would go against us. That's
So
my thought.
one of my items is I have a cover identity. So if we want to do the deception route, I can be like the face and have like the papers or whatever it is we need to prove that we are whatever we say. So
They're
whether
not-
we want to say we're ghost hunters, or if we want to say we're some sort of like, I don't know if we have it here, like a port authority, somebody who is inspecting, like it's a surprise or some sort of inspection, we can do something like that.
They're not gonna let us in. It's
So I will say one thing where I'm not trying to steer you. I'm just trying to fill in. If you were going to go the false identity route, one of the things that you could consider doing is posing as members of the Keepers of the Grave. These are the people who take bodies and so yeah, sorry. One whole just thing that you should note for those of you following along at home: within a couple days of someone dying, they will become a ghost. Ghosts are bad generally. There are sane ghosts, but most of them are out of their minds with just sort of vengeance and a desire to destroy those who have ended up with them dead, especially if they died violently. So the Keepers of the Grave are a government / almost religious order who take bodies and dissolve them in ectoplasm so that they do not rise as ghosts. They are also the official version of a whisper. They are all whispers. Their membership is very secretive. They are never seen without their spirit masks on. So people do not know who they are. And they are also then responsible for catching and eliminating ghosts if the ghosts are doing harm.
How likely would we be to have something approximating spirit masks?
Could fake them?
I've got a
I
spirit mask.
have-
I have a spirit mask.
I have ectoplasmic ammunition.
You can pew
I
pew
have a
ghosts.
disguise kit, so that could also help.
We also don't all have to be fully in whatever members of this priesthood. We could be, one priest or two priests and their, muscle or whatever to come carry out this box, which is going to be the source of the haunting, right? Which,
They'll
again,
never let
sorry,
us take a
carried
box. They
Well,
won't let us
maybe
take a
they
box.
would if something inside the box was possessed or a ghost.
Yeah, but we have to figure they want the box for a reason. And I don't know that I'm not saying that this plan is bad. I think that it is a good plan. I just think that we need to think about why they wanted the box and how easily they will either let it go or if we need to sneakily take it. And you can't exactly sneakily take a crate.
The spider guy said that they don't really know what's in all their stuff.
Oh, so we believe that they
don't
perhaps
care.
took it, but they
We
don't
can-
actually know what they've taken, right?
Right. And we can tell them, like, this box is the problem, and then we can take it. But I think that if we're sneaking in, or sorry, if we're deceiving our way in via priest masks, then deceiving our way out is probably our best way out as well.
Yep.
But if we
They
try and
will have had
deceive
to
in
have a
and then stealth
problem,
out,
though.
well, there was
They-
a ghost today.
But it wasn't in their warehouse. It was on the street. So
The ghost
They're not gonna
could
believe
be
that-
in their warehouse.
what was that?
We tell them it's in the warehouse now. That's why we're here. We've been tracking this ghost. It's in the warehouse. That's the deception. I mean, if we don't
Could
think that
I-
they're going to let us walk in and out that way, then we pick a stealth and we do this unseen.
Can I do a flashback?
You don't even technically have to do a flashback yet, but yeah, we could. Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Let's put it this way.
What I would like to do is talk to either Nirix, the possessor ghost, or Flint is not my good friend. So
That's
talk
the one
to
who hates you.
Nirix.
Yeah, no.
Talk to Nirix and see if Nirix can help us create a problem in the warehouse so that they have a reason to let me in, being a whisper. And
Or us as fake. I think we want to all come in as the fake thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
right?
That's a fine flashback. I'm going to say Nirix is your friend. You have ready access to them, so that it's going to be a no stress. Give me a consort or a sway, probably, because you need to convince them. You need to convince them to do this.
Yeah, I'll do consort.
I suppose you could also command if you're just trying to like say do it.
No. Or okay. I could attune to spirits in the ghost field, channel ectoplasmic energy, perceive and communicate with ghosts.
Sure.
Because I'll be perceiving and communicating.
I'll let you attune.
Okay, cool. Because I have 2 pips in attune. This is not risky, right? This is control.
It's just a normal roll.
Okay. Standard effect. Submit. No bonus dice. Please. A 5 is my highest.
All right. So this is since this is a fortune roll, this is sort of with limited effect. Nirix is well inclined to you. What are their pronouns?
They, them.
They like you well enough. They are a ghost that possesses people. They're not particularly hostile. They try to, I think, sort of exist overall in a more sustainable way. They're not willing to risk doing something though that's going to catch the attention of the keepers of the grave. So they're like, yeah, sure, I'll show up and, a couple times, but I'm not going to stick around for when things are getting bad. But you do convince them. They're going to kind of show up on the fringes a couple times. That was not Nirix that you ran past. I will say that.
Okay.
But yeah, so you think that, yeah, maybe you laid seeds for them to think there's a ghost.
Okay. So, and Nirix said that, so I would think that they're going into the warehouse to cause the problems inside there, or to let, when you say on the fringes.
They're probably not going to go inside because they're probably worried that there might be a whisper or something in the crew. They're gonna want to let themselves be seen, but at range. Because people like you could do some harm to Nirix. People like Hux could do some harm if they had ectoplasmic rounds.
Right. Okay.
My astral form can also do some harm.
Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like we deceive. You can wear your spirit mask. Mook can use her cover identity. And we can be muscle and other stuff to go in there. We want to try and take care of the, tell them that they have a ghost and we need to come check it out and make sure, and then say that things are emanating from the box and we need to take it.
And to add a little flavor, I can make my dog form. Well, I am a dog. Make my astral form thing go inside the box very plainly so they can all see, oh no, now there's a dog in the box.
Does your astral projection cause them fear?
No, it does not have the effect of... essentially, this is meant to empower a normal, mundane animal to have ghost-like abilities, but it doesn't make them an actual...
No.
But cool. It sounds like we've defined the approach, which is going to be deception. You're going to be coming up to them openly and just lying through your teeth. You've parceled out the roles, and we know that the nature of the method is you are going to say that they have a ghost infestation, and you are members of the Keepers of the Grave and assorted muscle here to help them with that. So before we do the roll, because once we do the roll, we're just going to sort of hop right into things. Let's go ahead and take our break here for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you stick with us. We'll take about a 10-minute break. We'll come back around 9:20 Mountain Time. Take care. We'll be back real soon. Hello, everybody. We should be back, God willing. Let me just...
Gramps, I'm wearing this shirt for you.
Yowza.
It's beautiful.
So as I was saying before we I was saying to people on the break, and then I'm like, nah, you know what? I can just say this back to stream. I enjoy the fact that that terrifies me that everyone is rolling like garbage. But we have managed to have Gramps hook up with someone already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just goddamn.
Yeah, Gramps is good at getting what he wants.
But in
yeah.
all fairness to the rolls, we do have a 5/6 chance on each die of having some consequence.
Yeah, but I feel like there've been a couple where you've rolled 2 dice and managed to
It's
fail.
been like 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah,
which is
that's true. Double 2s.
statistically rarer. All right. So I am walking us through. So the way that the score is one of the phases of play in Blades in the Dark. It's kind of, they describe it, they use very sort of television and movie language. It's where the camera pulls in. We're like doing everything moment by moment. There's going to be lots of rolls in here, although we've already had lots of rolls. And this is kind of where we have the stakes, and like we're going to sort of be keeping track. Honestly, the adventure on the rooftop was almost a good model of this, of one thing flowing to another, position affecting things, even had a flashback. But we have decided the plan. It's going to be a deception plan. The detail will be the method of deception. Several of you, Lady is going to be wearing his normal spirit mask. Mook will be posing as a member of the Keepers of the Grave, which I will say that your false identity and all of that stuff can include a replica of a spirit mask, so that you can directly pose as one. I would also rule, if you wanted to, Gramps could also, with a disguise kit, pose as a member of the Keepers of the Grave, if you wanted to. The other two can be there. It arguably might help with regard to your plan, though you can of course detail this, that the two of you who look most like kind of like urchins from the shambles are along as the hired help actually fits in pretty nicely. But that'll be the plan. You can work it out exactly as we're getting there. You chose the detail. Now you need to each determine your item loadouts. In Blades in the Dark, unlike, say, D&D, or honestly, most other TTRPGs, you don't do your inventory where it's like, oh, I own these 5 things, and I'm carrying them, and blah, blah, blah. You determine an item loadout level, which is how many sort of units of item you can carry. But you are considered to have access to all of your stuff, and you start using up that inventory capacity when you say, oh, by the way, I want to have my pistols, or, oh, I want to have this thing. Obviously, we're basing this plan on some things that may take slots, false identity, disguise kits.
What are there downsides to having a larger loadout?
The larger loadouts are connected to being sort of more obvious. You can it can affect how quickly you can move. Sorry, I just like you like frowning at the ground. I'm trying to remember, does it say on the character sheets, or is it just the what the load is?
We've got light, normal, and heavy.
Yeah, I think like with heavy load, like you can't move quickly. So like if you go in heavy loaded, then like and you have to like make a hasty retreat, you would have to like leave things.
And you look like you're going to do a job.
Okay.
Right. So we still need, even though the italics don't count for load, we still want to click them so we know that that's what we're
Correct.
using at that moment, right?
And then the stuff under the items, like, okay, so I've got a gray box for items, and then I've got a white box of items. Is the gray specific to my class or my playbook?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
everybody just has access
And then everybody
to,
has access to that. So,
but it all counts against load.
A 1 to 3, a light loadout, you're faster, less conspicuous, and you blend in with citizens. A 4 or a 5 load, normal. You look like a scoundrel ready for trouble, so you're there to do some work. And a 6 load is heavy. You're slower. You look like an operative on a mission. If for some reason you ended up at 7 through 9 load, you are encumbered. You are overburdened and cannot do anything except move very slowly. So obviously you can't like pick that load out to start.
We
it
only
sounds
have
like normal kind of fits if we're like there to do a job. But,
yeah.
you know, it's just a different job than what they think, kind of a thing. Like we would look like we would have some kind of tools and stuff on us.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
also
I
all
also-
pick individually. So
And we also
that-
what?
you all pick individually.
Yes.
So depending on what job it was, one of you could be more or less heavily.
I see.
I have subterfuge supplies, which is
Yeah,
basically a catch-all for everything.
Yeah, we all have that one too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which is cool because then you can like pick it and then decide what you're using. I really like that. I'm like, oh well, I have this badge, or yeah, kind of cool. I like that.
I don't know what some of these things do. Like
If you
ghost
click,
key.
if you click on the little arrows next to them, it does drop down information about each
Sweet.
one.
Makes sense.
There's nothing in there for me for mine.
Oh
It
yeah,
says
not in the
description and then
class
it's
ones.
blank.
Sorry, only in the ones that we all have. So like the
Oh, okay.
subterfuge tools, for example.
Okay.
So I think I'll go with normal for me.
That's
you
what
just-
I want to go with.
Yeah, you can just click that diamond on the loadout. And so then the way that it works, you have items that you can carry in load. When you say, hey, I've got one of these, and like I said, some people have said, hey, we already have these, we're obviously using these. You just click that box. It now occupies that much load. You can only go up to what you said you were going to carry. But you can pick whenever you do. If you see 2 linked boxes, you need to click both of them. They count as 2.
Okay, so I'm clicking disguise kit since I already said I was going to use it.
3. And if we click on, so we have the choice of 3, 5, or 6.
Yes.
And so that's how many boxes we check, excluding the italicized ones.
Correct. The italicized ones just don't count.
But you don't have to decide until the moment.
Yeah.
Correct.
Until you use it, you don't have to click anything.
Right. So you can just say like, oh, well, I've got my throwing knives, and then you click that off until you hit 5 or until you hit 6 or
Okay.
whatever your load is.
So it's
Got it.
entirely flexible. There is no longer the like, okay, I want to bring, these 2 potions and my crossbow and this and this. It's like, see how it's going. Maybe you blow past the guards and you're in there and you're like, oh, whereas before you might have you've commented there might be trouble. The guards are kind of, you think, maybe on alert. So maybe if you'd had to pick beforehand, you would have picked more weapons, and everything's going great for you. Great. You can just focus on items that help you with keeping that going great and getting you the hell out.
Cool.
All right. So with that, we do an engagement roll. Now, it is a fortune roll, and it starts with 1 die for straight up luck. We modify the dice pool for any major advantages or disadvantages that apply, and we can do this as a conversation. One thing that is important to note, the engagement roll assumes that PCs are approaching the target as intelligently as they can, given the plan and detail that they provided. If you told me that this was an assault, you got ready. You sort of scouted you'd scouted the terrain, you got forces, blah, 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 within the bounds of what you know.
Sorry, I was lying.
Mick says added a clock. So
I was like, what does this button do?
is the
That's what it
operation
does.
particularly bold or daring? Or is the operation overly complex or contingent on many factors?
Say it's bold and daring.
So
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah.
It hinges on many factors. We have to have
Yeah.
the ghost
Yeah.
do his thing, the hound do his thing.
Yeah, I
then
feel
us.
I feel like by nature, like every single mission we're going to be undertaking in this is probably some degree of bold and daring. But I think bold and daring missions would be like, we're going to a thing and fighting. whereas this is more subterfuge, and I feel like perhaps.
Well, and it's also
Yeah.
it's subterfuge that you've kind of laid some groundwork on, and it's a little bit iffy. Like I could almost. So here's what I would say, and I just like to do this as a conversation because I think it's kind of cool to sort of work this out. I almost give you the +1 of, yeah, I think it's pretty bold and daring to just like fucking walk up to them and be like, hey, yo, we're the keepers of the grave. You got a ghost problem. But I'm also going to say that it does rely on a lot of factors and it has a lot of complexity. One of which is that the keepers of the grave are not people you want to fuck around with. So
that was my thing. Is like we probably like the people we're impersonating is not.
So I would say that you've got kind of a +1 -1 situation. So we'll just sort of count that as a wash. But I would say that, you know, like, yeah, just walking up and bold-faced lying to someone would count as bold and daring. That to me doesn't have to require violence or. Does
this work in our favor to say that it's bold and daring, or does it work against us? To
Bold
say
and
that
daring is in your
gives
favor.
us +1, and the other one gives us a -1.
Yeah.
I see.
Does this plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? Or is the target strongest against this approach, or do they have particular defenses or special preparations?
No.
I can, this is one that's a little more on the DM side, but, or GM side. They are certainly not the strongest against this. You're lying to them. It's not like they're masters of deceit, nor are they, you know, let's say if you chose this plan and you were going to lie to the keepers of the grave, I would say that that's a harder sell.
I
also
think they would be more expecting somebody to sneak in or assault them to try to steal from them rather than just walk up and say, hey, we're here because you got a problem.
Yeah, and I think
So-
swerving because we know, like, maybe we tipped them off that, like, people were scoping or something, but then we don't choose, like, that super stealthy approach is, like, kind of in our favor here, too.
Yeah, and also, you know, we're able to back up that fact up by the fact that there literally was a ghost encounter, and maybe, you know, oh, we caught wind of this happening, and we are here because XYZ.
Yeah. So are people saying consensus is that they think there's a +1 there? Cool. I'm good with that.
I think so.
I think that scans for me. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation? Take +1. Yes, obviously you have
Nerix and
Nerix
Salia,
hanging
yeah.
out.
Yep.
And Salia helped you. Technically, also Bastion helped you. I mean, like, you've gotten information from multiple people about this.
Right.
Are any enemies or rivals interfering in the operation? I'm going to go ahead and say that there's a -1 die there. So that was a +1 -1. So that's a wash. So you're a +1. Are there any other elements you want to consider? Maybe a lower tier target gives you +1, higher tier target gives you -1. Situation in the district that makes the operation more or less tricky. I'm not going to count the tier 1 because you don't even have a fucking crew, and I don't want to just like nerf this into the ground. And I actually will say, I'm going to give you a +1 to this on the basis of the fact that the river lurks aren't well situated in the shambles. This is not where they normally operate. A lot of stuff is still kind of up in the air for them. So you are going to make a fortune roll using 3 dice.
So all of us roll?
One person or all of us?
One person. It is 1 roll for the table. I can do that for you, or you can pick a person to do it. I don't know.
I've been rolling like crap.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Can
don't
I
go
get-
with me or Heather.
Can I
Yeah.
at least toss an idea out that might maybe give us a little advantage? The fact that Lady was already there earlier and mentioned a ghost. There was this spirit hound that we could use that as part of our basis, that there had been a scout out already and had located the area. That's why we're there.
The only concern is they didn't believe she was a scout. They know that there was a
Right.
ghost, but they didn't believe that Lady was a scout. That
Well,
deception failed.
He also didn't say he was a scout, so that's where I'm kind of like, maybe if, because that interaction already happened. I feel this is Chris talking, but I feel like Mook is on board with this, is that they're already going to be on alert because of that earlier. So using that information might help.
Right? Does this
One thing- well,
deception give that previous lie new credibility
Yes.
that it didn't have the first time around?
And similarly, Galway, I have a question about the fortune roll that Lady made earlier when he was running from the ghost, was that luck roll about if the ghost was going to do, have an impact on him, or was that about the whole scenario and that deception? Like what was the situation with that roll?
That one was actually largely around how the ghost appeared and what impact the ghost had on the guard. That was kind of the roll for running away. Not whether or not Lady noticed the ghost, or because your class ability was going to let you know that ghost was there. It on a very above the table sort of way. That roll was for where did the ghost appear, and how much did Lady sort of instantly recognize about the ghost. If you had rolled a 6 or like a crit, it might have been, oh, you also know like maybe what this ghost is looking for, or you recognize this ghost, or it would have been something much more tangible about the ghost, or it might have even caused the guard to run the hell away. I would have, of the two things that a ghost could do, I'd have ruled paralysis was good, running was better.
So of that being the case, would it be too much over the table for us to know if that situation with that role had any sort of impact on Lady's overall deception, or had that kind of shat the bed at that point?
You weren't around at that point. It's hard to say. You wouldn't necessarily know that. I will say, to Chris's point, that's partially why I'm doing the plans detail, exposing a vulnerability to the target or hitting them where they're weakest. That's part of where the +1 from that is coming from. You've demonstrated spirit activity in the area, and you're no longer sneaking. Now you're walking up like, hey, heard you got a ghost problem. So 3d6 on the roll. I can either roll it for you as a 4, or someone can roll it as a fortune roll with 3 dice.
I am not rolling.
I'll do it. I don't know what it does, but I'll do it. Like, what does this determine?
Can one of us? Do we have the option with this to risk it for the biscuit? And like,
no.
Okay.
This is for the table. This sets your initial position based on this plan. You've said what you're doing. We assume that you're going in and doing that.
And the dice said 4.
Basically what happened, Jesus Christ, that is a triple 4, everybody. I forgot that since we're not showing the table, we should also be making sure to save.
Statistically, these rolls are like really not.
Yeah, no, it's
normal.
Weird. So the way that the engagement roll works is, instead of the sort of D&D of the do I approach the gate and then I creep up here and doing a bunch of rolls and this kind of how do I make the best approach, I'm assuming you're taking the best approach for this plan. I'm assuming that you're doing that. Where are you when the rubber meets the road? What is happening? You are going to start in a risky position. So this is the...
Is 4 not a success, or is 4 like a success?
It's a
success with cost.
With it. Okay.
Generally, a 6 means it's really good. That would have started you in a controlled position. 4 to 5 is you're fine. Remember, risky is the default. Risky is normal, so to speak. Yeah. 1 to 3 is you are in a...
Did we get a +1 though, or from our thingy, or was everything a wash?
No,
that's how many dice
rolled 3 dice.
We got
dice.
Total of 3 dice.
I understand now. Sorry.
You ended up with 2 extras. All right, so with a risky position, how am I going to narrate this? All right. You all prep your disguises, you have your masks on, you get everything sort of ready, you know the nature of the crate that you're looking for, you know the position, you've shared all of that information. You approach from like the main road junctioning down, just in case anybody's watching you from a distance. You're approaching like a lot of you, like you're not from Ashtown, you're just sort of carrying yourself really, you are supposed to be there. You sort of march your way up to the front of the warehouse and pound on the gate, and sort of we'll say that Mook will like, the Keepers of the Grave, there's been reports of ghost activity in the area. And you're gonna see coming around the side of the building, a guard who's like, what's this about then?
Did you
Ghost
not
activity.
understand?
Ghosts?
Do you have words that you can speak with? You do understand what I've just said, yes?
Yes, but I don't understand. Why are you... What is this about?
Okay,
Ghost
so
activity.
yes, I mean, do we need to spell this out for you?
Uh,
You do know when we arrive, there is one reason, correct?
We're here for the ghost.
Look, wait here. I'll be... and you're gonna hear him go back around. You did notice more people in the street, Hux, than there was last time. This is a very deserted place. It's very quiet. It's very out of the way. But you notice more people who look like there were guards. It seems like they've built their perimeter out a little bigger. They didn't really stop you, but just there were more people about than there were perhaps last time. And the guard is gonna walk away and then come back a second later, being followed by, for the love of God, fine. Followed by a drow woman who looks incredibly angry. And it's just like, what? So the... hello? What? How can I help the Keepers of the Grave?
We're
We
here
need
for
to
the
come in.
ghost.
You need to let us in. You know what our job is. There have been ghosts in the area. We're checking all of the places where the ghosts have been near. You're not going to hinder our job, are you?
Give me an action roll to see if you can convince her that you are in fact Keepers of the Grave who are here to check on ghosts and need to go inside.
This would be sway, right? Since I'm like using
also
deception.
feels distinctly like a group role, right?
Yeah, I was
Because
about to say this feels like a
Mook
team.
and Lady and Gramps have all now been like, we are here to do this, right?
Or they could be helping. Like it could be a team
Fair.
role, or it could be there's a help involved, or yeah. But yes, I certainly agree that Sway feels like a perfectly valid role to make for this. I will say that you are in a risky situation because the engagement roll said we are, and that you're at normal or standard effect. Does anyone want to help with this?
Yeah, I think help might be the best option because whoever leads the group action would have to take a stress for every person that fails. But whoever helps takes one stress.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, well, I
somebody
think it
else
kind
can
of
get a bonus
it depends, like how many people have sway, right?
Now,
It's 0.
No.
I'll also say
have-
that I don't think this is also a case where it's not like everyone is having to roll this. So it isn't like
Okay.
if you're trying to get the whole team through. I'm going to introduce one more mechanic. There's two ways that you personally, as the person rolling, can add a die. One is pushing yourself, which involves taking 2 stress. The other is what's called a devil's bargain. I can offer you a bargain. If you take it, that bargain exists, but you get a +1 die to your roll.
Do we get to know what the bargain is?
Yes, I'm allowed to tell. I have to
okay.
tell you what the
Good to
bargain
know.
is before you choose to take it or not.
Okay.
I will say, once you take the bargain is in effect. If you roll 17 ones, doesn't matter. You made the bargain to get that 17th die.
Do I get anything? So can anybody help me here? Is it possible for them to do a help thing to help? Or
Yeah.
I think Heather was already doing an assist.
Yeah, and all we have to do is say that we want to help.
Only one person can
Only
help.
one person can assist.
Oh, okay.
So you give me a bonus die?
Yep. And then,
So then I'd be at
But it's
3.
a sway. Do you not need to have die in a thing to? Okay.
and it's kind of clear how that help was occurring if this lady's been sitting here chiming in the entire time and is the only one wearing a legitimate spirit mask.
I'll have 3 die. Do we think that I need to? It seems kind of early to take a devil's bargain on something.
And I'll tell you what the bargain is if you.
Sure.
Yeah.
The devil's bargain would be you lie very, very effectively around, and you make your case so clearly that you are a member of the spirit wardens, that it is, or not spirit wardens, the
Guardians of the Grave.
Keepers of the
Keepers
Grave,
of the Grave.
that it is not hard for the Keepers of the Grave to find out that you were claiming to be one of them.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Fair enough. So that is a 3 die risky standard.
I think it's too early right now for me to take a bargain.
You can still push yourself.
To get a
Take 2 stress and get a 4th one.
But I also don't really want to.
You're
How
totally good.
much stress can I have?
I believe you have
I've got
9 before you go
1.
into trauma. So I also
Already?
laid this out. Stress, like I said, is this sort of special reserve of pluck and luck and what have you that scoundrels have. As you build up stress through doing various things, helping other people, helping yourself, encountering the supernatural, resisting things. That's what I kept forgetting to do when I gave you consequences. You could have resisted those consequences. Fuck me. I'm learning. It's fine.
Because we knew that too.
We
just
also knew that.
How does one get rid of stress though? So if I take
You
these
indulge
stress-
your vice.
Oh yeah, I'll take some fucking stress. Shit.
So and when so the only thing that you have to watch out for is
I'm gonna sleep with a whole lot of sex workers as often as I can.
the only
It's
thing.
already happened
Take
at
that
least
stress.
The
once.
only thing to watch out for is when you roll, when you indulge your vice, you roll equal to your lowest, like resistance, which again you count the number of markers in the first set of skills. You roll the lowest one of those, and you remove that much stress. If you remove more stress than you have overindulged, and some
Yeah, I'm a
weird things
bender.
happen then.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
my
there's
crabs.
always kind of this like balancing act of you want to clear out stress so you don't end up filling up the stress bar and traumatizing, but you also don't want to be like,
crabs.
I've got like 2 stress. Sure, oh crap.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
aren't there other ways to get rid of stress, like using coin or
Yeah, not really.
no? Okay.
It's pretty much vice.
Listen, I get rid of
I mean,
stress
if your
by-
vice is gambling, then yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually ways to use coin, I believe, to help with stress removal. Like inside
Okay.
the indulging your vice. It still
I
has to be the
understand it a bit
downtime
more
activity
now.
you take. But are you pushing yourself
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, I'll push myself.
You have pushed
I'll give
yourself, so
myself
you are
another
rolling
guy.
4d6, and I feel really, really scared inside.
Oh my god.
What?
A 1, 2,
You guys have to
a
tell us
4.
If I didn't
Yeah.
push myself, we would have failed that completely.
A 1, a 2, a 3, and
But
a
congratulations,
4.
you rolled a straight. So, does
So
fucking
that helps
nothing
me
for
in
you.
some way, right?
Oh
Jesus.
god.
I'm sorry, I have to ponder. You are in a risky situation and you rolled a 4. You do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer a harm, a complication occurs, you have reduced effect, or you end up in a desperate position.
Shit.
Okay, so
Galway, the luck has not been with us thus far. Please.
so what I'm gonna say is, you're gonna succeed. You're gonna say that you are ghost hunters from the Keepers of the Grave. You need to go inside. But she's not really going to believe you. Like she is far enough, but she is going to have everyone watching you. You are going to move to a desperate position. You may choose to resist this if you wish.
And how do I do that?
So, for resistance, we pick the relevant characteristic, insight, prowess, or resolve. I would say that this is a resolve one because you were swaying.
Okay.
And you will roll a number equal to that. So, however many first pips you have,
I have
1 to
3.
4. Okay.
In resolve.
In order to resist, you take 6 stress minus the highest result of that roll.
Okay.
Or minus the result of that roll, because if you had 0, you'd roll 2 and take the least. So it is possible to resist for absolutely no stress if you roll a 6. As long
So
as
you
you're rolling
roll-
dice,
wait.
it cannot be more than 5.
So
The highest or the-
she rolls 3 die,
Yeah.
3d6s, and she
Subtract that from
the worst
6.
it's going to be is 3 stress that you would take, because if you
It's
get
the highest
3
result.
No.
It's always
It's
just
the
the high die.
highest result.
Oh,
so I could
okay. So the
absolutely
worst is
take 5
5.
stress.
you could take
Yeah.
5 stress.
You'd have to
But that
roll
puts
3
you at
ones.
7 stress, which is
Okay,
bad.
I'm gonna resist.
You're
Do
going
I
to
click
resist the
resolve?
consequence. So I believe you can just click the word resolve and it should roll it.
Okay.
Come on, roll 20. Don't
Bonus
fail me now.
dice are none, right?
6.
Oh,
You will. You will
Boom,
take.
We got a 6.
Oh, this is the other way you clear stress. Right. If you roll a critical on one of these, you remove 1 stress. But you did not roll a critical.
Oh, boo.
Isn't a 6
Two-
a critical?
No.
2
No,
6s.
2
Oh, 2
sixes.
6s is critical.
I
Okay.
forgot. This fucking game doesn't actually give you a critical when you roll the highest on the dice. You have to do it twice.
It's also only rolling a
Whoa.
d6. It would happen 16% of the time if it.
That's fine, Galway. The game's hard enough as is.
I know.
No, but you do successfully resist. You resist that consequence, and here's how I'm going to say this narratively. You see her doubt you and sort of being like, yeah, and you're like, no. You need to be careful. There are ghosts here. And so you're going to resist that down to nothing. You are still in risky position. Your position is not worsened. And she'll be like, very well, and motion you around the side.
Yeah. Maybe the guard that like was paralyzed before speaks up and says, I felt it.
Yeah, I just figured that was worth the risk to not be in an even worse fucking position.
Yeah, resist. I mean, again, and you've seen the upsides and the downsides of it. Like on your rolls, you would have had 4, 2, or 0 stress, and you got lots of room to play with in stress. You just don't want to. The only thing you want to be careful is if you fill out the stress bar, you are out of this score. You are catatonic. You'll be. Your body is recovered later.
Does that mean out of the game? Like that's retirement, or just
No,
for this job?
no. You're just done for this score. As opposed to, you could get gut shot, stabbed, and have a broken leg. You're still kind of dragging yourself along. You just have to be helped to kind of do anything, or you have to push yourself.
Kind of a question about the mechanics on the character sheet.
Sure.
There are marks like along the bars, insight, prowess, and resolve. When do we mark those?
Anytime you make a desperate roll, you
Okay.
make an action roll, or actually it's just an action roll. In a desperate situation, using one of those, you tick the one that it's in.
Okay.
So, like,
And
if you
then-
were making sway, you would tick resolve, and those are
Right.
experience markers.
Okay. And then at the bottom where it says, like under the teamwork, oh no, okay. Never mind. That's not a question for right now.
Okay. She'll lead you around the side. She's gonna open that door that the ghost hound was at. People can also jump in, sort of if they want to be doing something at some point. And she's gonna lead you inside. The warehouse is large. It is very poorly lit. You hear multiple people moving around. Like moving stuff. Footsteps sort of ringing on the stone floor. And she's like, yes, well, as you can see, this is the warehouse. What is it that you need?
Find the ghost.
unfettered access to look around and make sure that we can see where any ghosts or things that could be attracting ghosts might be? You don't have any unreported bodies here, do you?
Can I pull out? I'm going to take out my little lockpicking device that I made that is useless, but I don't want to use it for lockpicking. I'm going to hold it up and say, this helps us track where ghost activity is coming from. And so we just need to have a chance to kind of scan crates and anything that could be holding dead bodies, any storerooms, areas where things that might be, if we can just have a chance to, as my colleague said, access so that we can scan things. And when we find the source of the problem, this will let us know. And I'll just kind of wave my little doohickey. That hopefully looks kind of impressive because it's Sparkcraft.
Yeah, I'm going to say go ahead and it's going to be another action roll. And essentially the stakes that you're proposing between the two of you are to let her give you just unfettered access and stop walking around with you with this other guard.
And can I...
You can interpret this however you want to. This could be Gramps was the one who asked for it, and it could be like Mix is helping by waving a doohickey. Don't forget, also you do have flashbacks. I don't think one is needed here. I just meant generally.
Mm-hmm.
What's the action roll?
You
Okay, that's something I wanted to clarify. We get to say what they are,
You tell me
right?
what the action roll is.
Yeah. So we could
I
technically
think what he
make
was
this...
saying is it could be you roll or I roll and you're helping me, or...
Yeah, but but the actual role, like we get to say it's
yeah, of
way,
course,
right?
Yeah, you say what you want to do and you say what you're rolling. In response to that, I tell you what the situation is, or what the I think it's situation, whether it's
Position.
Risky or position. I tell you the position and the effect, because you could be like, yeah, I want to convince her that she should let us walk around and be completely unfettered, and I'm gonna wreck to do that. I'm like, all right, you're smashing a crate in front of her to convince her to let you walk around. You are in a desperate position with minimal effects.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
you
I
could
wasn't
totally
sure
do
if
that.
you wanted me to roll and you help, or if you wanted to roll it.
You probably have better sway than me, so you roll it with
Okay.
help. So I take a stress for helping.
Yep. So, and we've already sort of described how you're helping. You're showing like, hey, we just need to hold this thing
I'm
near.
assuming it's still risky.
Yep. I'm going to say that this is risky and standard.
Okay.
And just so you know, I would, as they're doing that, I would like to be doing something, but we can resolve that.
5.
You succeed with, albeit with a little bit of complication still.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about this. I'll get faster at these as these go along.
Yeah,
but,
no worries.
Possibly what I was wanting to do could contribute to the complication. I don't know if it would. Because I just wanted to like say, I'm going to start sensing and just kind of start wandering away slowly, very slowly. But because I could just sense them, I don't need the doohickey.
Okay, I'm going to
So
say
she
that a
got
complication is going to occur. And again, as the person who rolled it, you have the right to resist this, as much as it's kind of weird to resist complications. It's mostly, like last time, you just sort of make it go away. The complication is that it kind of takes... She'll believe you, and that's what you need, and she'll go along with it. It's going to take a while. It's going to burn a little bit of time. Or you can
Okay with that
choose...
complication, I think.
Hmm?
I don't think that that's too bad
Okay.
to risk getting extra stress over.
All right. So she's sort of like, well, but show me, but, and we haven't really had any problems. I don't understand. And like at this point, actually, the other guard who you saw before is like, no, we've definitely had problems with this. Please, like I said, I swear I didn't just out. There was a ghost, and she's like, all right, very well. Here, I need to take care of something before you just go gallivanting around. And she will, the other part of the delay is like, it takes her a little bit of time to clear people out. What that time did is that there's a pair of clocks that are sitting up on the map. 2 segments have ticked on both of them.
One only has 1 segment left.
But she is like, yes, fine,
see the
they're out
clocks.
of the way. Off you go.
Where are
They're
they?
on the map,
On the map?
right now.
Oh, it's the blue and the green in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a 4 there's a 4 clock that is
Oh.
at 3 and a 6 clock that is also at 3.
And do we know what those clocks are
Sure don't.
for?
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Hux is going to start really digging around looking for this particular crate, and he's going to be using his ghost form as well, and I think this is going to be a hunt roll because I am seeking a specific. I have a target in mind, and I'm looking for its location.
Sure.
Would anyone like to help me look?
I'll help.
I mean, we're
Take a-
all
I'll
looking
take
for
a
the box,
stress to that.
right?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, I
gonna say,
think
or
we're
do you want to
all
do this
looking.
as a group roll?
I would say
Yeah.
this would be group because we're all
But-
looking.
I don't want to use hunt. Well, I guess is hunt the best option here? I mean, there's also survey.
I
Do we
have.
all have to
I have-
use hunt if
I have
Sam
2
uses
in
hunt?
hunt.
If you do a group action, you do all have to use the same action. You could be doing 2 different group actions, or you could sort of split it off. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm just saying like hunt is like a 0 for me. So like it doesn't, so it's fine that you want to use hunt. I think that for most of us, hunt is not a skill we have.
I think that also might just need to be a thing we take sometimes when we have group actions that we're not going to have matched up.
Right.
Yeah, but
things.
it's like pretty like
So
Right.
stacking odds against
I'm
us
thinking
in
in
this
like
case.
non-metagame terms
Yeah.
of what we would be doing, which is a group action of all searching for the thing together. But that's just
Yeah.
what makes
Where
the
did
most sense
this-
to me.
But we
Where-
have to pick a skill, and that's only meta.
Yeah, I think there's not really a way to avoid the meta here. I don't think it's really meta because we're discussing what the best option is.
So
we
I would
know
say
what
it's
we're
between
all
hunt and
doing.
survey, or
Yeah, we're just deciding.
Yeah. It
I have
doesn't
0
matter.
in both, so I won't be helpful either way.
Is it
Okay, so if
better
we went
for
with
us? Oh, yeah, never mind.
if we went with survey, a location or situation to understand what's going on, gather information.
Yeah,
about
it's probably
opportunities.
not as good, honestly. I just,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I do
maybe-
have 1 pip in survey, but like,
I do too.
I mean, Sam, if you want to like roll hunt and get assistance from somebody, that might honestly
Which
be
you
our
could
best
also
choice. Is
we
just-
can rule it that
Right.
way, that it's not you're all doing the action, it's someone is helping him do the action.
and I'm gonna also push myself because we're in a tense situation, and I want to find this thing and get out. So
Uh,
there's-
So you're pushing yourself. Is someone assisting you?
I will
thought-
if nobody else wants to.
yeah. Well, I think you're the only other person with a hunt, right?
It doesn't matter. You don't have to have it.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
you are
All right.
assisted. So Heather, tick 1 stress. You are now rolling hunt +1 for pushing yourself, tick 2 stress, and then plus another 1 for the assistance.
Right. I clicked, and the position is risky.
Risky and
And-
standard. You're
Standard.
looking for a
Okay,
thing.
submit.
You know what you're looking for, but you're still in danger. I would say that also, especially Mook, you notice that the woman who let you in, who seemed like she was somewhat in charge, she's giving you unfettered access. She's watching you. Like she's definitely moving through the warehouse so that she always has eyes on you.
Can I continue talking to her? I had kind of wondered if I could like continue just like talking to her about the warehouse and ghosts and other things, and just being like, hey, if you have any dead bodies, you need to let us know. Are there any bodies? And just kind of I want to try and distract her. basically, from watching us so closely, if I could just try and talk to her.
Give me a sway action to. We're gonna count this as a setup action.
So this is before my.
This is before yours.
My roll. Okay.
This setup action will improve his position.
Okay, so I will cancel this and.
Okay, so that's just a regular sway roll.
Yep, you're just trying.
Can I push myself?
You absolutely can.
Is it worth it to be at 4 stress already if I do that?
I can assist
Sure.
you with the setup. Is that a thing we can do?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's an action
So,
roll.
like,
So basically,
yeah.
the game is actually much more. It's nicer than D&D in the sense of it's not like, oh, here's an ability check versus like a skill check versus a this. It's
Yeah.
like you're making action rolls. You can do these things to action rolls. It doesn't matter how many of them you've nested
I just
in
didn't
each
realize.
other.
I didn't know if set up a teammate because that's technically a teamwork action and not like a. But we're making an action
But you're there,
check. So
and you're
I'll
both there.
assist-
So
I'll use from subterfuge items of like paperwork and just be like as if I'm like ticking boxes as I'm sorry, names are hard and they're not all in row.
Hux.
Gramps, thank you. As
Gramps,
Gramps,
okay.
is like going
Oh,
through
yeah,
all
I
these
didn't think-
questions, I'll like be taking notes and like still
Okay.
waving the doohickey.
So Gramps, you're swaying. You've been assisted. Was that result there? No.
No, I haven't rolled.
Okay.
I
was like-
changed my name because I realized that I hadn't. So to make it easier.
We've just made a lot of sway rolls with a lot of dice.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna roll 3 then. I'm not gonna push myself
Okay.
to get a 4th. 2
Fives.
5s.
Let me just do one quick check on something. Set up.
We are statistically owed a lot of 6s right now.
You definitely are.
Well, if I could get a crit right now, that would be dope.
Or
Need some
say,
of it.
or let's
Uh,
get the crits on getting the box out of there.
Yeah, we need some of
okay.
Andrew's
So I'm
fire
gonna
luck
say
double
you've
tens.
succeeded. You take a complication with your 5. Your complication is that this woman has now spent a lot of time. You're wearing a mask, like you are a keeper of the grave, but she has spent a lot of time looking at you. You are pretty sure that this woman can 100% pick you out of a crowd, whatever. in the
Yeah, can I
future.
try and resist this?
You may.
So would that be rolling 3 for resolve?
Yep.
Is anyone allowed to
That's
help
fine.
her with the?
Technically, someone else would be able to protect, which is stepping in front of it, and then they take the complication, which is more normally reserved for like harm.
Oh
So
no.
minus
That'll be 3 stress.
Fuck me.
You
Okay,
see her
Rachel.
like her eyes are starting to narrow, and you're used to this, right? It's someone who's starting to like kind of like file you away, and then like sort of mixes like, no, don't forget like item 27B, and it's just enough to break her focus over, and you kind of like turn away and like are like consulting with it, that you think it's just enough that like you've slid back underneath. I will say that has
just let that one
improved
go.
position so that
okay.
Hux is now making his hunt roll in a controlled environment. He is not being closely watched. We had already determined, was it that you were pushing yourself and were being assisted?
Yeah.
So 4
Yeah,
dice,
so I'm rolling 4 dice.
controlled, standard effect.
Got a fucking 6, baby.
Nice.
Yay!
Very nice. You are working your way through. It's a warehouse, right? It's large, tall shelves. There's like piles of stuff everywhere. The interior is very decrepit. You're having to move around some rubble at times. Gramps and Mix are just absolutely flurrying this woman with like a series of, and you are quite sure that no bodies have been here in the last blah, blah, blah. And you are walking through, you are making your way through, and you sort of turn a corner and look up, and you see a box that emblazoned on it has 4 swirling colors, gold, black, silver, white, with a red merchant scale on it.
Oh,
Troll dog.
I think this is the box. Oh no, a ghost. And gonna see the ghost dog just run right into the box and starts shaking it. Like I'm like, a healthy like 10, 12 feet away as this is happening. Oh man. Oh man. Whew. Oh man. All right, it's time. Let's get this show on the road.
So I'm assuming we all heard this.
Yes.
Does this cause the lady to look over?
Yes, I feel like probably Mix and Gramps both react to this as well, and she's going to sort of follow the sight line. And also, Hux is kind of just calling generally.
So she's seeing the box shaking and...
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have any reason to suspect that she would doubt that this is ghost activity.
And I'm loading up my rifle with my ectoplasmic rounds for added effect.
Are you doing this like ostentatiously? Like you're like the rounds glow very slightly. She's like, oh.
I'll immediately like flip to a new form in my prepared documents of my subterfuge kit and be like, oh, now that we've identified the source, we're going to have to remove it. You can come for your requisition materials on a later date. Here's the address, and like I'll point on the form to like all this like total bullshit of like where she can go to like reclaim her material, which of course is just like a nowhere address, and like all this other like stuff of like very official looking to essentially be like, we'll return your property once the ghosts are taken care of, but we are going to have to get this out of here.
So you've basically given her a 555 number to call to
yeah,
to like get her shit back.
But I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna like direct her attention again to like the paperwork, be like, we're just gonna need some information, and you can fill this out, get your signature here, like going through those kinds of
And
missions.
all the while the box is howling.
Yeah. And so then those of us with the masks on should converge upon it. And is it heavy enough, or is it too heavy for me to lift on my own?
You could probably need 2 people to carry it.
I can help.
Okay, so I'll
I don't know
nudge
if Mook has big muscles. I do, but
but I think it would look reasonable for the 2 Minotaur and Spirit masks to go. So we'll go grab the box and hang on to it because it's shaking, and while you're dealing with the forms.
Okay.
And
Mook, what are you doing?
Mook has no idea. We walked in, everybody started distracting, which is generally what Mook does. So Mook was just kind of like, just kind of hanging there. And I guess when Lady and Gramps pick up the crate, then I would kind of, since I'm the other one with the mask, I guess I would just kind of like lead the charge to get it out of the building.
Okay. So you 2 have moved in there. I'm going to say the woman is going to, like, as Mix is kind of throwing forms, they're like, no, wait, what, you're taking this? And now she's kind of getting up to you, Mook. Like, why are you taking this? This is our property.
you'll get it back. Sorry.
No, this is entirely unacceptable. You can't just take this.
I make the wolf howl
and keep walking.
I make the wolf howl louder.
I think she's talking to Mook.
Yeah, she's primarily like up, sort of interacting with like, what are you?
I mean, if Lady had already said you'll get it back, and as you guys are moving it past, then it would just be more of, well, you did sign the requisition form, did you not?
No.
Okay, well, you should sign the requisition form so that you can get your property back after we have de-spirited it. Would you like us to leave the spirit here? Are you calm and considerate for this afterlife being that is trying to figure out what it's doing on this plane of existence? Are you ready to take on that? Or would you prefer us, the professionals, to take this on, and then you can come tomorrow and reclaim your property?
All right, you're trying to talk her down. Give me your choice of an action roll.
Let me see what I'm at. Jeez. I only have consort and resolve, so it's like, let's see.
Off the top of my head, command, consort, and sway all seem like they're things that could be.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be perfectly willing to help. Get you an extra die.
Okay, I have no pips in sway, but sway is what I believe should be used, because you're like, I'm trying to sway her with deceptive logic, but it's still, but it's something that I have absolutely no pips in.
Think of a way that it could be consort. Like, how could that be used? Since Goldie said it's a possibility, is there something we could do?
Yeah. Consort with connections from your friends. As your friend that is an actual whisperer, you have experience in dealing with, understanding
you're a whisperer, you're not a keeper of the grave, so that's where it's like there is that slight difference. So I'm not sure like what you would be able to give me that you wouldn't already have used. And I feel like I'm like blocking myself here by saying no, that's not going to work. But like, what would we?
You can also certainly roll. If you push yourself, it adds a die, so it takes you from rolling 2 and taking the lowest. You just roll 1, or you could take a devil's bargain. Assistance will do the same thing and could push you up to rolling 2 dice.
Yeah, I'll definitely assist, unless somebody else wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like I don't feel like consort is what I would use here. This would be like if I was trying to like actually use my own information or stuff I have access to, where I feel sway makes more sense.
Sure.
So a quick question here. Is this still a risky situation?
Yes.
100%.
Could I be using my spirit pet to improve the situation? I forget what the terminology for that was.
Setup.
Make a setup roll.
Because you're rattling the box.
Yeah, because I'm literally rattling the cage, and like the point that Mook was just making was that it looks like you're not exactly ready to handle this responsibility on your own without the right help, and so amplifying the fact that, oh crap, they have the situation, might further prove that.
Give me a fortune roll with 3 dice to see what your effect is.
Okay. Roll fortune, number of dice, 3. Submit.
Because you're well suited to this. You have the pet.
Notes? Anything about notes? Okay. I got a 6, a 5, and a 3.
So an outright success. Yeah, you were well set up, and you wanted to improve the position.
Yeah, because right now it's risky, and yeah.
Yeah, sure. So you're now in a controlled position for your roll.
Okay, so
I'm helping.
So you're at 1 die.
And if you push yourself, you could be at 2.
Or
and then if you take a bargain, you can get 3.
Or get a devil's bargain, yeah. No, because it's either or. Push yourself or devil's bargain, yeah.
Okay, so I have not rolled an action yet. The only roll I've ever done was the fortune. So I would click on sway.
Yes, and then go over to
And
the map.
I have
layer,
no
you'll-
pips in it, which means that's only one die.
Right.
Lady is helping, so that's a second die, but that's still only one die.
That you've added one bonus die. So first, you're going to click on you're going to click on sway,
Okay.
and then it will be asking you a series of questions.
And it's controlled.
It's
now?
a controlled position.
Okay.
Submit that. It's a standard effect.
Okay.
Submit
Now
that.
how many die?
You have one bonus
extra
die
bonus
from Lady helping you, and if
Okay.
you push yourself, you would have 2 bonus dice.
Okay, I'm gonna push myself.
Okay. So then 2, and that's
Okay.
what you can have.
5.
3 and a 5.
Nice.
Okay, good.
Then
Good.
I have to mark 2 stress.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I take the 1 stress for helping. You take 1
But-
stress for pushing
No.
yourself.
No, I-
right?
Pushing
No,
is
I
2.
was-
Just for
Push
pushing yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pushing yourself
So
is
5.
extra.
Success with a complication, or with a downside. I'm gonna go with the same one that I previously had. It takes a while. She's sort of flapping about at you and is really worked up for some reason. You can resist this if you want to, or you can let it take some time.
How much time are we talking?
Several minutes, and mechanically, 2 pips, or 2 ticks on the clocks that are.
Okay.
And the resist roll would be everything in resolve, right? And I don't know how many at all you have in resolve.
Is that just on the one side?
Yeah,
or
it's
do
that stuff before
okay.
that line. You count the total of
So
them.
I only have 1. I only have 1.
So unless you rolled a perfect 6, you would take some more stress.
Yeah.
And I would want to do it for you. Like, I can't resist for her, can I?
You can. That is the protect your teammate.
Okay.
I feel like you have had a lot of
But
stress,
the
though.
Yeah, you have
Yeah,
a lot
I've
of
got
stress.
3 stress so far. I'm at 3 stress.
This-
I also have
I'm
3
only at
pips in
2.
resolve.
Way more.
But
The complication is time, so I don't know how
Yeah.
you would take time for.
well, but if it's resisting that, it takes time. So like we impress upon her the urgency of like
Yeah.
we have to go now.
Basically,
Right.
the
Oh,
resistance
great.
means you avoid the complication, and
But
So then what would Lady take?
Lady
Well, it
makes
depends. I'd roll a d6, and I've got
Roll,
3
okay.
pips on the.
basically this is a protect in order to try to shift that over.
Okay, so you would you would just do the roll yourself then?
Right. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At worst, I would go up to 8 stress, 1 under trauma.
which we're not out of
Is it-
this situation
That's
yet.
real bad. I'm
Right.
just gonna say that
Yeah,
your
I
at
know.
worst is real bad.
Real bad.
But we also don't know what this clock is.
You don't know
and
what the
that
clock
could
is.
be real
I'm
bad
nervous
too.
about the fucking
Right.
clock.
Well, at least I wouldn't be traumatized
I don't know. I have
Um,
faith in you, Ever.
Ever.
Ever?
ever.
Ever.
Okay, so I'm doing this.
Okay.
If you want to, don't. I'm not pushing you.
So you've chosen to take the
no
protect.
guts, no glory, right?
Yeah. So you've chosen to take the protect, and now you are rolling to resist
Heather's
it, which you'll use a resolve roll to do.
Okay, so I go up and resolve.
Click resolve.
Click it. Okay.
You don't have to
Bonus
do
dice.
None.
None. Okay, so then it's just, oh god.
Hey!
6.
I gotta say,
You take no stress.
Yes.
You push. you sort of are like, as Mook is like, no. You almost body check this woman as you're going by, like as the box is rattling, and you're just like, no, gotta go. And with that, you will be able to move through. This will be a case of lowering, not avoiding. So 1 pip each.
So one of the clocks
Okay.
does tick down.
That ends the green clock.
Boo earns.
So I'll also say you're heading back to the side door, the one that you came in. Mook, you're kind of used to keeping an eye on things generally. You're pushing past this woman. You see on the far end of the warehouse, a little bit of light from across the river.
Okay.
And then you remember that Huck specified that all the windows were boarded up. And a second later, you hear a and a body sort of hit the ground. And as you look up, you can actually see up on top of the sort of crates and shelves, you can see figures moving, crouched with blades.
Gotcha.
To go. Gotta go. Oh, only Mook
Was
sees this,
it
so.
Yes.
the drow woman that we've been talking to who died?
Oh, no. She's right by you all. I like how Elisa's already been like, you in particular, I want to be dead.
Just curious.
Does the drow woman that we've been talking to, does she hear or notice anything?
She does not seem to.
Okay. Then with seeing that and hearing all that, I will look at I'll reach for like a form from Mix and be like, the requisition form has all of the information, and I'll take that from her and then give it to her, and you can follow up with us in the morning, and you may have whatever it is that you have in this back. We just, like I said, need to de-spirit it. And now, and then like I'll say that as I'm like walking and like kind of like shoving it at her.
And is there a chance that we could be carrying this such that the logo or the swirled colors are hidden? Or is it just really obvious
That's
on it?
going to be hard because it's kind of on the two sides that don't have the handles,
Okay.
which are thus the more exposed sides.
We can throw something over it?
But we
Like-
don't know this is going on.
Yeah, no, I know.
You could in the long run if you wanted to. But yeah, you are outside. You are making, I'm assuming you're just sort of booking it on the way that Mix had told you.
And yeah, at this point, I think I would say throw something over it because we don't want anybody really seeing this logo.
My subterfuge kit already has like a two-sided cloak or something like that in it that we could easily
you
just
Toss it
on.
over it. Makes it a little bit harder to hold on to, but you've cleared about the length of one warehouse, and behind you there is the sound of wood splintering, as several figures now sort of are launching from the windows.
Like, are they launching, like they're attacking us, or they're being thrown through the windows?
No, more they just jumped through the window in order to get to you all.
Got you.
Gulp.
Lots of crates in there. Why do they think that we have the crate that they want? It's covered with a cloak.
I'm a produce from my bandolier. I'm using my load a lot. A smoke bomb.
Oh, nice.
You were going to
Because that's the
literally
thing I can have.
smoke bomb.
I am going to literally smoke bomb.
Nice.
Which puts me up to 3 load from everything that I've been saying. Yeah, and the smoke bomb description is on page 226. So let me get there. It creates a cloud of acrid smoke that's difficult to breathe and stings the eyes. So the people pursuing us, I'm going to toss it behind us so that it explodes behind us and creates a smoke that they will have to get through in order to continue pursuing us.
I just really like the position that Chris's screen is frozen on.
Oh, no, I didn't notice.
Yeah. Very thoughtful.
That's funny. I have a question. Can I do something in tandem with this smoke bomb? You could tell me if this is insanity or it won't work. But I have an item. It's a 0 load item that comes with my class called Trance Powder. Could I like disperse it in the smoke so that when they run into the smoke, it affects them? Or is it something that has to be used on a person specifically?
Huh. It's in your
It
Is
is
there
low.
like smoke kind
something-
of like
Yeah, it's something that is like because I'm looking at the same thing. Trance powder is on page 226 as well.
I found it. 'Cause
So it says
I
induces
looked
a
for it after you said that.
yeah when inhaled. So like inhales.
So it is an
Yeah.
inhalant.
And if Gramps were to give it to Mix ahead of time, I could just hopefully have it explode with the smoke bomb. If this is something that we could have like pre-planned.
So there we go. This is a flashback.
Yes.
You have flashbacked.
Oh no, Chris.
Chris is gone.
They said
Actually,
that she said she lost internet power or
Oh.
internet
internet
Power.
power.
internet power.
With the power of internet.
This is so.
Can we do that? Pew, 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 pew.
This is a flashback. You are flashing back, and it's a zero stress flashback. It's very easy for you to provide this powder to Mix. Mix, make a tinker roll for me for how effectively you have combined this with your smoke grenade.
So this would have been a controlled environment
Yes.
and standard effect,
Yep.
She's back.
bonus
it's
But
an
not
empty
there.
chair.
dice.
Empty chair.
How did she do that?
She's probably resetting her router and it automatically
That makes sense.
brought her back
Um,
into the call.
Am I allowed to have like pushed myself in my flashback?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to rule you are for now. I need to check more of these of what role this might be, etc. But for now, let's say that.
Hell yeah.
Well, I didn't need to, but 5.
Yay.
Yeah, you got it. I think that technically this is a fortune roll because we're determining how effective you were. Yeah, you're able
Yeah.
to integrate that in there. It's not to represent the limited success of a 5. The trance powder doesn't extend to the full boundaries that the smoke does. But like in the core of the
Oh,
smoke,
they're
you
back.
also have this. Yeah, no, it was really funny because you were utterly frozen.
She doesn't have earphones in yet.
Chris,
Yeah, sorry,
you
you're back.
you were completely frozen on a really nice face, and then you disappeared, and
was
then
this.
and then
You guys were really frozen too. So
And then we realized you were.
everybody froze.
And then you
Apparently,
came back and it was just your chair. And we were like,
yeah.
oh.
It was
because
just
I
funny because Sam's
checking
like,
the router and
"She's
the
back."
modem, and
and I'm like, but she isn't.
yes, no idea. Apparently, the lights themselves flickered, but they didn't in here. So I don't know what's going on.
So you were
Okay.
right, Rachel. She lost internet power. So yeah, that's how I'm going to rule that. That's how the limited success is. Like, you're not going to affect everyone who's in the smoke with trance powder, but you will get some of them. Certainly, who are going right if they go right through the core.
Okay, and the
I have
transporter said the victim of this powder is not fully unconscious, but rather retreats into a calm, suggestible mental state, similar to hypnotism.
Then you were starting to say something, Elise.
Yeah, just my question is how much trance powder Gramps has, and whether, because I can have 3 smoke bombs on me, so I could do depending on how big of an area of effect the smoke bomb covers, I might choose to set off a second. So if that could be another one that I've already pre-tinkered with, or it can just be pure smoke if Gramps had more, whether or not Gramps had more of the stuff.
It doesn't give me a number.
You got a lot of stuff.
So can I have 2 of these
You're a
combined?
Slide? Gramps
Yes,
is a slide,
sorry,
right?
my brain.
It says a dose.
Okay.
So I would
just
rule
one.
it as you had enough for a dose would affect sort of one person normally, and then you're integrating it into this grade. So one of them is a doctored grenade.
Okay. Now, so then just looking over my shoulder at the effect of the smoke grenade, do I think I need a second to cover more area of effect to prevent our pursuers from following?
Give me.
I get to say what my role is. My role would be survey if this, right?
Oh, I didn't actually mean for the looking. I meant for the impact of what you did with this. Give me
That
a.
was just the standard effect. Oh, but we didn't roll that. I see.
Yeah. Give me a 3 dice luck roll. Because like it worked. Like I'm gonna say that, you know, the grenade from your tinker was Jesus 5, 5, 6.
It really wanted to be a critical
It wanted to
success.
be a
It
critical
wanted
success.
On the other hand, you've also all have kind of proven the thing you were saying. If you were owed some 6s, they've started to come in on the back end of this round. I'm not going to make you roll to be able to see what's happening. So I'll describe that, and then you can decide if you want to do something else with that. You see 2 of them go. There's three figures came through the windows. 2 of them go right into the center, and you see them just kind of clear the smoke, and then just be like. And they're just sort of looking around. The other one is going to sort of go through the edge of the smoke, and you hear sort of, and you see a dark-clad figure sort of burst through the other side of the smoke. They obviously do not look entranced, and they seem like they are unsure of where you all are for a moment. So you would have an opportunity, if you wanted to maybe try to lurk away, or you could smoke bomb again.
Yeah, I might like just throw the second smoke bomb to give us extra cover, like more as a visual distraction, then lurk away so that we just have higher odds of being unseen by this person.
So let's count then that smoke bomb as the setup action to lurking. And I'm going to say that as opposed to the situation, I'm going to increase the impact, the effect of lurking now. So that if you do well, you're going to just be fucking gone from his perspective. This will probably need to be like a team lurk action.
It's so like prowl is the skill, the relative skill.
Prowl, yes. Sorry, lurk is the...
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure. And so, yeah, okay. I
have prowl. I have 1.
So we all just roll it, but we have to pick someone to spearhead it. Who's got the least stress?
I've got 3.
I only have 2, but I also have no pips and prowl.
But
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
It's
worst
just you're volunteering to take the fall if we roll poorly, basically.
Yes.
Sure.
You take 1 stress per person who fails.
Yeah. If everybody fails, you'd take 5 stress, but everybody's not going to fail. We hope.
Why did she say it?
I shouldn't have even said it.
Because
sorry, as the GM goes, no, there's a cursed line that we don't cross here.
Yeah. And that shouldn't have come out of my mouth. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, there's my foot.
So,
Okay.
so what do I
gotta
start
do?
rolling?
Everybody is just rolling a prowl.
Yeah, prowl.
It is risky with a
great effect.
Is it great? Is that the next biggest one, I think?
Standard, limited, great, extreme.
Yes, great. So you're up a bump.
Okay.
And no bonus dice from the smoke
die.
bomb.
No, because the smoke bomb is giving it to the
great
effect. So I am seeing a 4, a 1, because that was a 0 dice, a 5, a 4, a 6, a 4.
Wait, who had a 6? Who had a 0 dice?
Mook had a 4.
Mook had a 0 dice.
Mook had a 0.
I see it.
Mix had a 0.
So there's only 1 fail.
Prowl. So there's only 1 fail. Mook will take 1 stress.
Mook, that's
and
great.
You have that might have been a critical. There were 2 6s there. No.
The
Yeah,
six
no,
was on
no,
a 0 dice.
That was on a 0 die. So you have a full effect.
Wait.
though.
Oh, okay.
You have a full effect. So let me just do one thing. Yeah, actually, I don't even need to look at this. You throw the smoke grenade back. You book it down. You mix, kind of leading the charge. You surveyed this. You slip through a side alley. You sort of pass through slick cobblestones. You turn left again. You're sort of leading people through, duck into another alley, hop over to, again, another alley, double back a little bit, and then loop around. You are fairly sure you have entirely lost them. After weaving your way around for a little bit just to try to throw them off the trail, you begin hustling to the drop point. Still side paths, but going very directly. I was gonna say, Gramps and Lady are getting a little tired. Whatever this thing is, it is heavy as hell. You make your way to the drop point, and you find a carriage waiting at exactly this sort of street corner. Actually, no, sorry, you don't, because you hadn't arranged a time. But you have the drop point. It's essentially behind a shed. It seems simple. You knew that you were going to. You also know where you're supposed to. There's a door on the way past that you're supposed to rap on with a particular code when you've dropped it off. And you do that. You, just because we're pushing up on 11, you make your way back to the polite raccoon.
On our way back.
We were successful.
Yeah. Hey, Mix. You know what this whole fleeing kind of reminded me of? Remember when we were back at the shelter and you and I stole Celine's telescope and we managed to get away from her sentinel eyes because there was all the fog and we thought that we were the smartest prowlers on the street. But then
well, we were the smartest ones on the street, actually. So
well, we were, but then we couldn't see anything because of the fog.
Yeah, but I don't think she ever caught on that it was us, right?
Oh, no. But yeah, it's just, this was an example of me trying to weasel in getting an extra experience point by the end of the session for talking about our shared history.
All right, and I will say we will wrap up with the PC advancement section. There will be a payoff coming, but I'm just going to move that into the second session, and that way we can actually wrap it up nicely with what type of lair you would like, what type of crew you want to be. So I think that actually works out really well. But the way PC advancement works in Blades in the Dark, during the game, anytime you make a desperate action roll, you mark 1 XP in the attribute for the action that you rolled. That never came up. You never had desperate actions. You avoided those pretty successfully. At the end of the session, you review the XP triggers on your character sheet. For each mark 1 XP if it happened at all, or 2 XP if it happened a lot. Everyone has a playbook specific XP trigger. I do not remember off the top of my head what all of those are.
Should we read them? Do you want us to? Or?
And this is you all define this. You all say this. Technically, I don't rule whether you did this or not.
Where are they? I'm sorry.
So it's under your abilities. It says mark XP.
In the playbook advancement box.
Yes. So it's the top. It's the second bullet at the end of the session. For each item below, mark 1 XP, or instead mark 2 if this occurred multiple times. And so the first one for everybody is unique to your playbook. The other 2 are standard. But yeah. So going around the way we did, Elise, what is yours?
Mine is you addressed a challenge with technical skill or mayhem. So I would say I did that with the smoke bomb. Does having tinkered to make the smoke bomb have Gramps' additional thing give me the second experience point?
Legitimately, the way it's written, you all decide this.
Or you had the thing.
The doohickey. I feel like the doohickey didn't really do much though. That was like
it was
play. So
I don't know.
It enabled you to help in the
It was a help
situation.
action for me. So.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll take 2 then. I'll take 2.
Okay.
Let's take 2. Do we want to just do all of mine before we move on, or do we want to
let's
do
just
them
do that.
individually? Okay, so then the others are which everyone has, I believe. You express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I don't think that
I don't feel like
happened
that one
unless-
came in real strongly.
Yeah. And then struggled from vice or traumas, which we don't actually have those available to us yet. So I took 2 XP.
Nice. Heather.
Okay. My first one is you addressed a challenge with knowledge or arcane power. Would my whispering abilities have helped at all into knowing that, like, being able to get Nyrix to help us out?
That wasn't a tune roll. And I would also say that you, as much as it might not have been the basis of it, you did lie using ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So that feels to me to be at least a 1.
Okay. I'm happy to take a 1. And then the other 2 are the same. You addressed a challenge with knowledge you expressed your beliefs, drives, or heritage or background, or struggled with issues from your vice or traumas. I don't think I did either of those.
Okay.
So I'm taking
Same.
1 experience.
So for me, my special one is you addressed a challenge with tracking or violence. And I kind of feel that I did that twice. From the initial reconnaissance and then also looking around for the thingamajig for the crate. So I mark 2 for
How
that.
was the initial one tracking or violence? I know you released your dog, but you weren't really tracking anything, or did I miss? I'm not trying to be a dick. I just
pointing things out
sorry.
to me.
I literally used my tracking hound to try to find the entrances and such in the building.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. The same way you use that, essentially the tracking as the help action there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background.
We all know you did that one.
Did that only once, though.
Mr. Heavy-handed over here.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I was just reading ahead, you know.
You were prepared.
Vice and traumas, nothing came up.
And then none of that has come up. So then I will send it over to Rachel.
You addressed a challenge with deception or influence. I would say I did that at least once.
That one I think you did a couple of times.
Okay. I did it. It was So would that be 2?
Yeah, I would say 2.
And then
you lied a lot in the warehouse.
Did. It's so weird playing a character who lies a lot.
But it's still really friendly.
It's still really friendly. I don't believe I expressed beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I didn't really struggle with issues from my vice, but I did indulge in a little bit of my vice. And
it depends on what you did. You might have arm wrestled.
So the book has, I read this earlier today. It says you have to have overindulged in your vice to count it as a struggle of your vice.
Or you have to struggle with like wanting it or make a bad decision because of it. If it was if it was you hang your team out to dry to go, meet up with your drug dealer or something, that would count. But
got it.
This one it's looking for.
It's not drugs, it's sex or nothing.
And then Chris.
You addressed a challenge with calculation or conspiracy.
You definitely conspired when you talked the lady into just letting us out.
And
I would also, calculation for your talking to,
Yeah, I was gonna say you definitely ran this as much of a predetermined plan as you could.
And also bringing Gramps to butter up Cecilia, that's calculation.
Oh yeah.
Definitely not the last one, but expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I kind of feel like I did dive into the background by going and talking with Salia.
Yeah, I could see that. You relevantly drew out someone who is connected to you and who is connected to sort of your past and the work that you've done. Yeah, I'm good with that. You also did you did bring up, as much as it was sort of in passing, but I think you also you played it a bit, and it would be enough to count for me. With Bastion, of he was a spider.
yeah.
I'm interested in
Right.
things he's saying as a spider.
Cool. All right. So I got 3 experience.
Awesome.
Nice.
So I think that will do it for us tonight. This will be being played every other week on Tuesdays. So we will be playing not the 9th, but the 16th. It'll be at 7 p.m. Mountain, 9 p.m. Eastern. Yes, that is right. Sorry, I suddenly did the time zone thing where I'm just like, wait, did I just say the end of the session? Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much to my players for playing this, trying out the system with me. Thank you so much, everybody who watched. One more time, thank you, Sam, for the amazing trailer. Thank you, Monty, for the amazing character art. Yeah,
Tuesday, Andrew, Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesdays. This will be on Tuesdays, not next Tuesday, but then the Tuesday after it. And originally it's been planned for being about a 4-shot. This may go the way of Spire in the let's try out a new system and learn the rules. I don't think it's going to go full on season arc chunk 1. We'll be here in 20 sessions. But we may be a little bit longer than 4, just as we're working out the pacing, because we certainly are slowing down very intentionally for me of like, I want to read these steps. Everyone get on the same wavelength here. Yeah. I had a great time. Hopefully everybody else did. From all of us here at Helpful Goat Gaming, stay safe, be well, take care of yourselves and of each other.
Night.
Good night.